all your nooses. I don't know when to stop, I'll be violating truces. Someone needs to do this, let me show you where the truth is. Clickbait like Medusa, your views are what I use. Like the words on my hoodie on your mirror to get through. You should fear the tubes, I've been deadly with the blues. I've been known to kill a synth, I'm a shepherd of the news.
Monster. If things don't go my way, then I'm gonna have to crunch you. Feed you to my chest, to the tavern where we go soon. I can't wait to see where this is going, what you gon' do. I don't give a damn how you feel, oh boo-hoo. Rayzilla, fire spit a monster. Shards of the dance floor, Louis V carpet. Fire, Rayzilla, fire. Monster. Shards on the dance floor, Louis V carpet.
2021, what a year. Bittersweet is coming to an end. We gon' highlight a few things for the free to play and those that spin. Geomancer bro for one day, got us all hitting like Victor Tiz. He did it first though without a bug, man, he hit for over 700 mil. Sean Party with Layla at, who got partner this year. J Gigs, Uncle Patches, Smiley, and Mrs. Tham. Big shout to Saffron Man, he the one that got us all hit. Can't forget Hell Hades, helped us all to optimize gear. Doom Tower trying to do it fast, so we all got a comp with us here. Or just use Chris, like Kenpachi says. I've been imagining the day that I could beat the Rayzilla monster. Gonna need a savage set, crit rate on attack chest. Gear cleanse, you be lucky if you get a gear cleanse. Front one, a mass bench stress, trying to roll substats. Will it be speed, will it be flat? CVC got me click, clack, click, clack, click. Like a lab rat is H-dub, you can ask chat. Yo, Gigs, tell him what's next.
Get a pack free, sadly, never happening. Keep 'em mad with the packs we bring. I can't be taking that heat. Take it back to brackets, the Halloween ringer. Look at my stat sheet. What attracts these people is my greatness, bitch. Like a 10x with a Valkyrie, like fat chicks. You never gonna grab me, neither. RNG the menace here to dominate. I'm greatest ever nominate. I'm getting inside the beat like I'm a surgeon. Time to operate. I'm cutting him again. My lyrics gonna blade him with the skill up of every fucking body in the game. Debilitating every rapper thinking they can integrate him. And I make anybody who playing right afraid of pain. But don't nobody want it. But they're gonna spin it anyway. Cause y'all beginning to see that I'm a villain. I'm a killer. You need to seal him. A thriller me. I'm a Liam Manila. You bringing the villain within me out of me. You don't wanna be here when I free the behemoth to listen me. I keep it raving. Call me Cena. Cause there ain't no seeing me. I'm the deity of rapidity. Increasing the speed and killing any infinity. Motherfucker, you better run it. You finna be dead like free to play in silver 300% of you players couldn't beat a tenth of me. I'm at it to diminish you, bitch. I'm despicable. You wanna battle? I'm unkillable. I'm rolling with Dutch. Invisible. I'm inexplicable. I'm unequivocal. I'm unforgivable. I'm fucking biblical. An orange criminal. You never catch him digital. They got our radar ruler. Man, stop.
What is going on, everybody? We're just going to get started here in just a second. Trying to get the cameras, everything ready. So, thank you, Jay, for the raid. Much appreciation, sir.
Welcome to Teleria. Miscreate when I stepped in. Plat reset is risky. Like Clambo sending you back to the Bastion. System is getting landed. Legos are getting unfolded now. 100k, that's Hades. 100k, that's Ash. 100 mil on CB shouts to Deadwood, that's that. One artifact, that's 5 mil. One amulet, that's 10. CC's killing off this beat. Murder raking with that pen. I've got my mask on like Jensen. Victor holding records like weights out of bench press. Samurai Shing in arena with my shadow kid. Jemba when now you're panicking. Skull crowns are getting taken out. Death Knight like Layla Fox. Sharp pulls for that summon rush. 3k subs in 8 months. Wanna shout you for all the love. Community, we keep it strong. Valerian back and forth just like ping pong. Maybe in 5 years we'll get that Hydra boss. Forget a monster. You can call us Rayzillas. Sacreds, I don't wanna see ice like frost bringers. Some say YST, you've got a cold heart. Yo, Smiley, come on, bring that heat like Ignatius.
Monster. If things don't go my way, then I'm gonna have to crunch you. Feed you to my chest, to the tavern where we go soon. I can't wait to see where this is going, what you gon' do. I don't give a damn how you feel, oh boo-hoo. Rayzilla, fire spit a monster. Shards of the dance floor, Louis V carpet. Fire, Rayzilla, fire. Monster, shards on the dance floor, Louis V carpet.
Heard he quit way with the clickbait, got paid, I made, I raid viz. Glow like nitrate, my fate is. Show you where my knife blade ends. Better hope we can bring the friends. Dopamine and the dopamine. Crack your skull like an opening. Shard 2X, here we go again. I'm a universe of death and I'm beyond your comprehension. I'll decapitate that fool if he enters my dimension. Alone in my life now, I don't need your permission. Boot all my cheaters out, call that CC suspension. Hair like extension, but without all the excuses. Looking for a top, I've been feeling all your nooses. I don't know when to stop, I be violating truces. Someone needs to do this, let me show you where the truth is. Clickbait like Medusa, your views are what I use. Like the words on my hoodie, I need a mirror to get through. You should fear the tubes, I've been deadly with the blues. I've been known to kill a synth, I'm a shepherd of the news.
Monster. If things don't go my way, then I'm gonna have to crunch you. Feed you to my chest, to the tavern where we go soon. I can't wait to see where this is going, what you gon' do. I don't give a damn how you feel, oh boo-hoo. Rayzilla, fire spit a monster. Shards of the dance floor, Louis V carpet. Fire, Rayzilla, fire. Monster, shards on the dance floor, Louis V carpet.
2021, what a year. Bittersweet is coming to an end. We gon' highlight a few things for the free to play and those that spin. Geomancer bro for one day, got us all hand like Victor Tez. He did it first though without a bug, man he hit for over 700 mil. Sharp party with Layla at, who got partner this year. J Gigs, Uncle Patches, Smiley, and Mr. Tham. Big shout to Saffron Man, he the one that got us all hit. Can't forget Hell Hades, helped us all to optimize gear. Doom Tower trying to do it fast, so we all got a comp with us here. Or just use Chris, like Kenpachi says. I've been imagining the day that I could beat the Rayzilla monster. Gonna need a savage set, crit rate on attack chest. Gear cleanse, you be lucky if you get a gear cleanse. Front one, a mass bench stress, trying to roll subs fast. Will it be speed, will it be flat? CVC got me click, clack, click, clack, click like a lab rat. Is H-dub, you can ask chat. Yo, Gigs, tell them what's next.
Get a pack free, sadly, never happening. Keep 'em mad with the packs we bring. I can't be taking that heat. Take it back to brackets, the Halloween ringer. Look at my stat sheet. What attracts these people is my greatness, bitch. Like a 10x with a Valkyrie, like fat chicks. You never gonna grab me, neither. RNG the menace here to dominate. I'm greatest ever nominate. I'm getting inside the beat like I'm a surgeon. Time to operate. I'm cutting him again. My lyrics gonna blade him with the skill up above every fucking body in the game. Debilitating every rapper thinking they can integrate him. And I make anybody who playing right afraid to pay, but don't nobody want it. But they're gonna spin it anyway. Cause y'all beginning to see that I'm a medieval. I'm a killer. You need to seal him a thriller. Me, I'm a Liam Manila. You bringing the villain within me out of me. You don't wanna be here when I free the behemoth to listen me. I keep it raving, call me Cena. Cause there ain't no seeing me. I'm the deity of rapidity. Increasing the speed and killing any affinity. Motherfucker, you better run or you finna be dead like free to play in silver 300% of you players couldn't beat a tenth of me. I'm at it to diminish you, bitch. I'm despicable. You wanna battle? I'm unkillable. I'm rolling with edges invisible. I'm inexplicable. I'm unequivocal. I'm unforgivable. I'm fucking biblical. An orange criminal. You never catch him digital. The god I rate a ruler. Man, stop.
All right. Here we go. Let's go ahead and restart all of that. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Knights of Teleria. Thank you all for joining us. Odd One Gaming, welcome, sir. How are you doing? Let's talk about what's going on this week. We've got, a lot of new champions in game. We've got, a new rotation of the Centranos. And, we got some bad things I feel that we need to talk about too. But let's go ahead and introduce my co-host for the show today. On the top red, we've got Mr. FinalKenpachi. Ken, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, my friend. Thanks so much for having me again. Hopefully you guys also doing good.
All right. Thank you for coming. Right underneath that, we've got the I feel like he's hacked the Plarium servers and has found the ultimate way to get any champion you need. Mr. Gestal Gaming. Gestal, how are you doing, sir?
Doing great, BLAZIN. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, but we need to talk about this one little thing, sir. Your shard pulls. What's going on?
Yeah, lucky again, man. I hit the archer on the main account on 6 sacreds, and then hit the archer on the free-to-play account on 7 sacreds.
Oh my god. And then, guys, I feel like if you need shard pulls, you need to go see Gestal because
It seems to only work on my account, because I pulled for a lot of other people. It doesn't seem to work quite as well.
He doesn't want to share.
He doesn't want to share, huh? He doesn't want to share. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can't go over my allotment that player gives me each month.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. And then right next to me in the Lecoq costume, we have Mr. JR Star 3. Jay, how are you doing, sir?
Doing pretty good, man. Just focusing on this free-to-play challenge.
Okay. How many of you guys are actually doing the free-to-play challenge?
You mean like
I'm
months?
already doing like over 4 years, so.
Okay. I actually did not partake in this one because I just don't have the time right now. But Jay, you said you're doing this?
Yes, this is my second one.
Okay. Gestal, are you partaking in this one, or is it a time issue?
Nah, I don't got the time for it, man. Too much real life stuff.
And we all know Ken is just always been free to play.
It's too much work. Like, to be honest, like, I don't mind, but it's too much work. Like, starting from the fresh, most of the time I didn't even get time for my account doing takeover all the day, so I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. Let's start talking about the content creator question of the week. And I'm really interested to hear this because I want to know how you guys eat your Oreo cookies. And do you prefer the double stuffed or the ultra thin ones? Let's go ahead and start with Jay first.
I like the double stuff, but it will get you sick because I don't know when to stop. So I'd rather eat the normal one. But I like to dip the Oreos. Like what most people would say is you dip them to the point where the bubbles, eventually they'll stop. It's kind of like you're drowning the Oreos and then you eat it. So that's the way to do it.
Okay, so you dip them in like what? Milk? Chocolate
Yes.
milk? Okay, milk.
Regular milk, yeah.
Okay. Gestal, what about you?
I gotta be honest with you, I cannot tell you the last time I had an Oreo cookie. It was probably when I had to be a kid, man. I'm not a chocolate guy, so I don't know if Oreo really constitutes chocolate. I just never really liked them.
Okay.
But when I did have them, it was definitely with a huge cup of milk, and I was definitely dunking them for sure.
Okay. And Mr. Ken, how do you eat your Oreos?
Most of the time, dipping on my coffee. Milk also a great idea, to be honest. I mean, I also do it sometimes, but most of the time coffee.
Okay.
Hot coffee, yeah.
And do you prefer the single or the double stuffed?
Single, double is too much. Like Oreo is like, to be honest, more sugar, right? I don't like sugar. Like I don't like cookies that much. But I'm definitely chocolate guy, so I cannot say no to chocolate. I know chocolate is a sugar, guys, but it's a different, okay?
Okay. So myself, I prefer the double stuffed, and I don't like dipping it or anything because I don't like the sogginess of the cookie, but I do feel a little, a little too much once I start eating like 4 or 5 of them. And yeah, it's definitely, I'm kind of just like just start going at it, eat them, and that's it. But then once I have like more than like 4 or 5, it's like, ooh, okay, it's too sweet. Now my sweet tooth starts to hurt, right? So all right, let's talk about, I guess, the big thing coming this week, which is for most of us tonight, Rathalos. This login champion, I mean, looks insane. First of all, how many of you guys know what Monster Hunters was? Ken?
I mean, I as you guys know, I play in different games. I also try Monster Hunter World when it's released, but I don't know, I didn't like it that much. But I know it's like every time I open Twitch or something like that, most of the especially like big streamers, some of them still playing the Monster Hunter. It's a very famous game. I know it's come to the global like couple of years ago with the World, I believe. I think it was on the Asia, Japan, most likely, I think. But yeah, it's a pretty big game, to be honest. Whenever I first time heard Raid is making collab with them, I'm like, what? No way, like I couldn't believe it. I actually couldn't believe it because this game is very, very big.
Okay. Gestal, what about you?
Yeah, I heard of it. I remember. I don't know how many different versions are there. I'm not even sure, but I remember when the kind of online version came out. I think that was 2018. There was a fairly big kind of hype around it when it first came out. I never got it. I never checked it out. I think there's a new version, maybe an updated version or something coming out. Maybe that's kind of why they're doing the collab.
5, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it all makes sense. Did they mention in something? I felt like I read that they said, well, we don't have monsters in Raid, and I'm like, what are you talking about? You don't got monsters. You got Lizardmen, you got miscreated monster. Like, you could have easily done monsters, but they went the gear route.
I think it's some DMC or something like that. I think embargo, or I don't know. They don't want to say that. I don't know. Maybe it's not part of their deal. I don't know.
Yeah. Jay, what about you?
Monster Hunter, just the franchise itself is one of my favorite. I wouldn't put it on my top 10 or top 15 games of all time, but it is definitely top 10 favorite games of all time. Because you can just go back and play it. Like, I've played it on the Switch, I've played it on consoles, I've played it on Steam. It's an amazing game. The game is basically kind of like Raid. I hinted last year and the year before that, just as jokes, saying like, hey man, it'd be, why doesn't it come to this? Why don't they do a collab with this? We could easily do, it's the same game. You go fight a boss, right? We do that in Raid. You go to a dungeon, fight a boss, get the gear to do what? To go do another boss, to get that gear to do, it's the same concept, right? So I'm actually happy that they didn't go the monster route and they went the gear route, or champs, I guess you could say. But yeah, man, it's an amazing game. People who've never played it, like, I get it, it's grindy because you can put about 50 to 150 hours, but I already put thousands into Raid, so. But overall, yeah, I love the game and I'm happy. I couldn't believe it when I found out that it was. I was like, I had to go check the time. I had to go check the year. I was like, wait, did I wake up in a different time zone? Like, what's going on? I was joking about this. How is this real? But hey, man, it's a great time to be alive. That's actually happening in Raid. So I'm pretty happy about that.
So myself, I had no idea what Monster Hunter was. When we got that little sneak peek about what we were looking at, I was like, oh, okay, cool. It looks like Champ Skins. And then I was corrected and was told that it's actually Champions. And then I went and actually looked at it and I was like, oh, okay, cool. This actually looks like really kind of sick. Like I actually might want to, start playing this, but I had no idea. I'm kind of one of those people where if I'm playing one game, that's pretty much what I'm playing. And it's going to take a lot for me to go to something else or even pay attention to anything else. But all right, let's talk about Rathalos real quick. I am Joe. Thank you for the follow over on Twitch, so I appreciate that. What do you guys think looks wise of this guy, Ken?
I think maybe Jay can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's wearing very small weapon compared to the Monster Hunter rest of the game. Because weapons on this game is massive, man. Like, I think this is very sword compared to them. But I wish he's a waifu, obviously, but first of all, he's looking very, very good. I mean, if I leave my waifu thing beside, he's looking very cool. Okay. I really like it. I actually like waiting dragon, from their teaser with you, something big coming.
Yeah.
Name. I thought it's a dragon. I feel like, wait, how the dragon is gonna be fit on the, like... Wait, what kind of dragon is that? Baby dragon? But yeah, he doesn't even have a HP burn, actually, right?
No.
Yeah.
No HP burn.
Yeah, they got me there.
Well, he inflicts more damage if somebody's under HP burn, but yeah. All right, I'm curious. So, what is this like little lantern thing on him? I don't know. That looks interesting. Gestal, what do you think of the skin wise?
Yeah, I think it looks cool. Again, obviously, I think the whole monster, Jet and Jay will be our expert here, I guess, on Monster Hunter, so correct us if we're wrong, please. I think you like took parts of the monster to like upgrade your weapons and gear or something, so obviously that's what kind of looks like it's doing here. I would say it looks more like a Shadowkin though than a Bannerlord. He's got more of like a samurai look, in my opinion, but maybe they took a samurai or a Shadowkin skin and just slapped a bunch of monster features on it and called it a Bannerlord. I mean, I'm not like super like, oh, it's gotta be this, why are they not doing, why is this not Shadowkin? Like, it's, it's fine how they handle this stuff, I think, but it just gives me more of a Shadowkin vibe, that's all.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the sword, to be honest.
Yeah.
Odachi. It's Odachi.
Yeah.
Massive sword.
Yeah. Jay, the expert.
So each champion or each blade master is using a different weapon, and that weapon is how they're supposed to be played. So in like Monster Hunter, you have great swords, long swords, and each one has its own play style. So if you like to play mid-range, long-range, far away, so each of these new, blade masters, they're all from respective factions that do unique things, right? How does he look? He looks legit like how a regular Rathalos person would look. So the way you do is you kill a monster in Monster Hunter, you carve it for its, think of it as like reagents or little things. You can use them together to forge yourself the full set. Which I've noticed all their passives are like a set bonus. So that's why they have every single passive that's unique to that monster. Overall, it looks pretty good. The longsword, I feel, could have been a little bit longer because it's supposed to be a really long sword. It's decently long, but that's the whole point of longsword. It's kind of like this. Yeah, I easily could have seen him in Shadowkin because he's supposed to be like very go in and like act like a samurai, kind of like that. So easily could have been Shadowkin instead of Bannerlord. But overall, aesthetically looks amazing. His skills look amazing, and for him being the first free one, right? That's actually insane. I think this guy can cap out and start doing some big things in PvE and PvP. So, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Okay, so that part right there, where like you got to carve up the gear or carve up whatever you're killing, kind of sounds like something we used to do in World of Warcraft, which was skinning your animals and stuff that you killed, you bore to kind of craft your gear. So you're kind of something like that, right? Yeah. Okay, so all right, let's talk skill kit, man. I think this guy, I mean, I've said that Artak is the best for a beginner, mid game, even to some end game accounts for a free champion, but I think this guy might come up and take it. Let's look at the A1. Attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense. If this is a boss, it cannot be resisted. It books up to 75%. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is on the higher end of most legendary champions to put a decreased defense on the A1. And then the can't be resisted if it's a boss. That's like a first time that we see this. So, Gestal, A1, what do you think?
Yeah, super strong A1. Unresistible, decreased defense. Pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know what could be better, really. I guess the only thing would... I mean, you're looking at it mostly in a Demon Lord circumstance, or maybe, you know, like other single target bosses. But yeah, pretty insane.
Okay, Ken, what do you think about the A1, sir?
Before I start the A1, I really like the idea. They are actually, especially we are gonna see on different champion as well, especially the archer girl. You know, like, hey, this champion doing this skill, but if the target is boss, then this is gonna do that skill. So which means you can use them in PvE arena, in bosses, or even on the PvP area. That's great. You know, like some of them, we are reading the champion skill. Champion A2 looks solid on the Hydra, right? Then you are reading A3. Wait, that's PvP, you know? But if we are gonna leave that behind, this is super strong, 75% single target. It's pretty much going to land all the time. This even can help you a lot on the Hydra, of course, defense line. Obviously, you need the AoE defense line, you cannot count on him. But especially like Gestal said earlier, clan boss, single target bosses, which is we have a lot of them in the Curse City right now, Citranos, right?
Yep.
So, and cannot be resisted, so don't worry about accuracy on him.
Yep. Jay, what do you think about the A1?
For non-void champion, pretty sick. And the fact that you don't have to actually pull him, you get it for free, that's insane. Not having to use accuracy is huge for free-to-play, for early to mid-game as well. You don't have to, like, if your Great Hall's lacking, it's a lot of stats too. And since you don't have to build act, you can build more speed or more damage. It just opens up more in terms of your build, the more stats you can get. Because his rest of his kit doesn't require axe. So if you did have to, he'd be more like an ASDD champion instead of being pure damage, which that's all he's supposed to be about. Also, I don't know if a lot of people knew this, but each of these Blade Masters, all their skills are the actual skills you use in Monster Hunter. They're actual, like their abilities. Cool. They're named after this, so it's really cool.
Oh, that's cool. All right, so yeah, I think the A1, I gotta say, really, really solid. He, like, when I first saw this, was like, that's insane. Clan boss, like 100%. I mean, if you think about it, any progression you need to do on any boss, he's gonna pretty much almost be a must. A2 attacks one enemy. Every second skill use of his A2 in a round will attack all enemies. Also will ignore 25% of the target's defense. And if it's a boss, it's going to ignore 100% defense. Again, ignoring 100% defense, I think this is the first time we're seeing this. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think there's another champion that does this. But it is insane. We're talking automatic, what is it? Lethal or savage set built in.
It's even more than that.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. And the first part of the A2, yeah, exactly. It's the first part of his A1 kind of reminds me of what's his name, Gentoro on Clan Boss. But we're gonna 4 books. We get it down to a 3-turn cooldown. I think this is massive. We all there was a question that was asked: is he going to be better than Newt? And I feel in certain cases he actually might just be better than Newt. But Jay, I'm going to throw this to you first, sir. What do you think of the A2?
A2 is crazy. I remember reading it. I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, in my head, I was like, well, the second part, right? The target's a boss. And I'm like, wait, we have now, for the first time, we have more than one boss, right? Centranos, you can do duo bosses. And maybe in the future, there might be trio. So, yeah, this is going to be nuts, right? Being able to just splash multiple bosses and just nuke them down, multi-boss, that's crazy. So he's very unique for that. And it's also bringing free, like, you know, Savage or free lethal to your kit. So if you new player mid, you're going to see big numbers out of this champion, especially for PvP as well. I could see someone getting a second turn and then boom, everyone's gone. This guy's going to, that skill is pretty nutty for an A2, not even an A3. Wow.
My first test on this guy is going to be Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss with a Cardiel Demytha team. I want to see what he can do. Gestal, what about you? What do you think of this A2, man?
Yeah, A2 is super interesting. Obviously, the single target, but the second part of that, every second use of this skill in a round will attack all enemies instead. So imagine that on Hydra, an AoE every second turn on this A2, ignoring 100% defense on all 4 Hydra heads. You know, imagine the Hydra heads all dead, decapitated, and like that going off. Like, there could be a ton of damage coming out of this dude.
Neutral.
So I think, it's interesting, man, and yeah, I really do love, as you know, as both Jay and Ken pointed out, that a lot of these are good, and then almost get amplified more against the bosses, and I mean, it makes them very unique, and it makes them viable on both sides of the spectrum, on the PvP and the PvE. I think it's awesome, man.
Yeah. I'm wondering to see what kind of numbers he's going to do against my Acrizia and Hydra. That's going to be very, very interesting. Ken, what about you?
I mean, that's not fair, man. Come on. Akliza is enemy max HP.
Well, hey, listen, if I build him strong enough and he's ignoring 100% of the defense.
Well, on the passive too.
You know?
We'll get to that.
Don't forget, like, yeah, it's going to be a lot. But
I mean, if we're talking about nightmare difficulty, again, like, hard to say something before because no one test him yet, no one have him yet. So, but I feel like more like, I mean, it really depends your stat, but I feel like in the nightmare difficulty we should leave the space to the any max HP champion. But this dude can be do crazy damage on the brutal or the obviously hard difficulty. And the good thing is, I don't think you need the Savage gear on him because he's ignoring 100% target defense. So build him in the Relentless set, give him lots of refresh accessories. Like, imagine it's broken, you know, like, sometimes it's broken, right? Refresh and the Relentless is broken at the same time. He can just destroy them. Like, I cannot imagine him on the Hydra. Obviously, I'm gonna try on the Hydra him first. Klamos, of course, like, Klamos gonna be solid, right? But most of the end game player already have a solution for the DPS wise on the Klamos, so. But early game, yeah, he can also work very well on the Klamos. Any boss, to be honest. Like, he's a boss slayer, to be honest. They should be calling boss slayer. Boss slayer master.
all right, A3 attacks all enemies before attacking, places an increased crit damage, increased speed buff on this champion for 2 turns. Books down to a 3-turn cooldown. He's a little selfish. I think the only thing that would have been like really, really great on this one would be get an extra turn. But that might just be a little too much, you know. But Gestal, what do you think about this skill?
Yeah, it's obviously it's awesome. Just like it's, you know, just by what it states, but it does bring in a bit of a problem if you do want to use him in Hydra, because he's now just putting the 2 buffs on himself, so he could become the target from my from the Mischief Hydra head. So that could cause a bit of an issue, and then you have to maybe even think of building resist on him, which you're going to lose some stats there. So it gives me a little, I don't like that because like I want to use them in Hydra. This is all, another AoE. It does book down to 3 turns. Obviously increased speed's welcome, increased crit damage welcome, but it's on himself, so that hurts the Hydra a little bit. But still a great ability, obviously.
Yeah. Ken, what about you?
I agree with the Gestal. This skill gonna make him weak on the Hydra because he's gonna get target from the Mischief. But other than that, like if you are thinking about other bosses in the game, like the bosses doesn't care you have a buff or not. Obviously, staff buff definitely gonna help him to deal more damage and go in faster. The most important thing, both A2 and A3 ability, both of them AU attack. I mean, A2 ability going to be AU attack after second time he uses it. But after you book both of them 3 turn cooldown, this kind of skills are so strong. I can feel it from the Staltus, right? Staltus keep doing AU attack man non-stop and so annoying actually. So even if arena potential, obviously this skill not ignoring your defense. So if you are not gonna build them in the Savage gear, this skill kinda gonna hit a little bit weak, but still very very strong ability.
Okay. Jay?
I think it's gonna be pretty good overall, because it's before attacking, right? So some champs do it after, and it's like, bro, why? Could it bring increased attack? Would have been pretty insane for arena attack and speed, but it's crit damage and speed. Probably would have been a little too much for non-void champions, so that's probably why they probably looked at numbers. It's most likely going to be a 4.0 or even more multiplier. Hopefully they don't hack them and make them a 3.5 because that wouldn't be that great. You would just go A1, A2, just turn off the A3 at that point if it's that low.
You mean fix?
Yes.
Yeah. But in terms of like the buffs, like they're gonna fall down once the moment he takes a turn, it falls down to 1 turn buffs. It's not like they're for 3 turns. So I mean, you could just make someone go a little bit after, and who's not using increased speed in Hydra? So the only buff he's gonna be is the crit damage. So it's only 1 extra buff technically. But yeah, I could definitely see like a 3-head player definitely getting kecked because of Rathalos. Just be careful. Yeah, definitely having too many buffs. But honestly, if the fact that they're not 3, I think it won't be that bad because most people put 2 buffs anyways. So it shouldn't be that bad. But overall, I was hoping for like attack instead of crit damage, but this is still pretty good. I want to see what the multis are. That's what I'm curious about.
Okay.
4.1. Yep, this skill 4.1, A2 4, A1 3.2.
Okay, that's actually pretty good then.
Yeah, it is.
So I just put out a poll over on Twitch, thanks to Ken. Do you guys think he's gonna Plarium's gonna nerf him after we figure out some content with him?
Fix.
Oh,
Fix,
yeah,
fix.
fix. Okay, fix. Or rebalance. But let's see what you guys say out there. But A3, I think pretty solid. I like Jay's idea. I'd even take the increase speed out and put increase attack, increase crit damage. I think that would probably be better. But overall, so far the kit is pretty solid. All right, so passive inflicts 50% more damage against targets under HP and burn debuffs. Receives 25% less damage from enemies under HP burn debuffs. Every 5th skill used does 200% more damage. Holy shit. Okay, so if you have Artak and you have him, you're going to be golden in Hydra, right? It's going to be insane. But let's start off with Gestal first. Gestal, passive, man. What do you think?
Yeah, this is super interesting. Like in my mind, I'm trying to think: can you line up that AOE A2 every time as the 5th skill? That's how you really maximize the damage here. Obviously, yeah, you want to have HP burn in there. I was thinking like a Venus or something, but any HP burner would be great. And also receiving less damage from people under HP burn, so he'll be able to sit there and take a little more damage, especially because he's attack base. Certainly not going to be super tanky in there versus Hydra. So it's a killer. It's a killer passive, man. I'm interested to see how that 5th skill, and if you can kind of really keep track of when that's gonna fire, like if you're manualing through or even if you just throw it on auto, is there a way you could kind of line that up to always land on the second hit of that A2? That'd be pretty awesome.
I think you'd have to turn the A3 off, and
That's
then
what I was thinking. You might have to turn the A3 off and then just auto, just hit the A1s until you're ready to hit it.
Yep. But I think if you A1 A2 or no A2 A1 A2 A1 back to the A2, every 5th skill would be that, and you can.
Yeah, but it's not. It wouldn't be on cooldown enough then, right?
Well, it's a 3-turn, so it'd go A1 A1 A2 A1 A. No, so you'd have to go A2 A1 A1. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I don't think it would maybe work. If you don't book it for the cooldown, might be, but maybe we could figure something out.
That might be, unfortunately, that might be the way to line it up.
Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, just fully book the champion, A1, A2, A3, back to A1, A2. Because it's 3-turn cooldown on both skills, right? So when you use that second skill, it has 3 turns, so you just took the turn. When you use your A3, that's the second. When you use your next A1, that's 0. When you go back, you'll be able to use it. So you go A1, A2, A3, A1, A2, and then it'll always be the 5th skill.
Okay, that's why we.
So then you're only getting it every other one, then I guess. But yeah, that's still fine as long as it's landing. As long as that 5th hit's landing on the A2, I think.
Exactly, you can at least consistently make sure that it's always the 5th.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. It's not if it's not the AOE every time, whatever. But.
Does A1 count as a skill too?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. Does that, because it's a default? I mean, it's technically a default skill. It's still.
I think so. I think it would.
It doesn't say active skill. It just says every 5th skill.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, when you have a lockout champion, it's saying like it's putting the champion skill on the cooldown, but it doesn't affect the A1 skill. So
true.
Yeah, we need to ask the player maybe, or we are gonna see tomorrow, I guess.
I'll find out in about 5 hours, 4 hours.
Oh, you are not gonna wait seriously?
Hell no.
Oh, all right.
I told you. Yeah. We need to do that free to play, teaching for me. Ken, what do you think about the passive, bro?
Again, like kind of tricky to use it, but like if you somehow manage to do it with this every 5 usage of 200 extra damage with the A2 AoE attack, that can be crazy. Obviously, you need a HP burn for that. There is some great champion on the Hydra wise HP burner like Artak you said earlier. Sufrion actually can be very very solid with him. The Lizardman dude, Cupidus Venice comp, you can put him in there. Cupidus Venice comp gonna be hard because it's not that easy. Cupidus Venice comp, like they are already 2 champion, and if you are also gonna put him in there, so 3 champion is taken. So you only have 3 space for the decrease speed, provoke, and the block debuff or the Shamal stuff like that. But possible, it's not that hard possible. Maybe I'm gonna try that on my Cupidus Venice team. But you can always use him on the Artak, it's gonna be easier. So, bro, like I really want Chris the damage he's gonna deal, man. Like, I feel like if we are gonna see some absurd number, but yeah.
I'm hoping for it, man. I've saved my nightmare team for Hydra just to see what he can do because, like, it's my best team. I can do 500-600 million damage on it, and I want to see what he can do because I'm gonna take my Taras out and I'm gonna put him in, just to see with my Crizia. But overall, 1 to 5, what do you guys give him? Jay?
Definitely a 5. The kit works perfect. Look at his base stats. He has an extra 5 speed as well. He has max crit damage, decent attack as well, and he's not super squished. He doesn't have like 700, 800 defense or something like that, right? His HP is not high, but his attack gem makes sense. But overall, and then a passive giving him less damage. If you get the 5% from the mastery and then use an HP burn, that's basically a stalwart, and that's not just the AoEs. It just says in general. That could be single targets as well. So that's really tanky, and he has insane damage, and he has damage mitigation as well, as long as you bring burns. Super insane champion, honestly, in my opinion.
Okay. Gestal, what about you?
Yeah, certainly an awesome champion. You know, I'm not really sure where I'm going to use them. I guess I'm always thinking like Hydra or PvP Live Arena. You know, I'm sure Curse City he'll come and use a lot. But yeah, you know, it's always cool to get a new champ in there, and he seems exciting. Attack base, going to be bringing a lot of damage. So great to have him. You know, I think we had discussed last week we were hoping more for a support type champ, like an AoE revive or something. So this is like complete opposite end of the spectrum, but I'll definitely take it, man. He's super cool.
Okay. Ken, what about you?
I give him 5. Whenever I rate the champion, I'm also it's also important for me to how we obtain them, right? And for example, if it is a void Lego, they better be good. Otherwise, I'm not gonna forgive them, you know. But he's a daily login champion. He's free, so it's definitely getting extra from me. Even we didn't test him yet. He's looking super solid on the paper. So 5, solid 5.
Okay. I agree. Solid 5. I just have one issue. After the event is over, you will not be able to pull him from shards. And so anybody that's not playing now will lose out on ever getting not just this guy, but the whole Monster Hunter thing. And I think that right there is going to create a lot of FOMO. And that's, I don't like that. So let's address that question real quick. What are your feelings on the fact that these guys are limited champions, and then once they're gone, you can't get them, and you know, and maybe some future content they create a mechanic that needs one of these guys. Gestal.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly don't like it. I like it, but I don't like it, right? Like, I like the idea of having champions that you can only get for a certain amount of time. I don't like that for 2 of them, and probably 3 of them, it's going to be damn near impossible to get them unless you're insanely lucky. I'm insanely lucky. I don't like that aspect of it. The login side of it, like a ninja, I kind of like that stuff. I like that. So I was, you know, you were playing the game 3 years ago. You've been playing for 3 years, and you got ninja, whatever. Like I kind of like that side of it, you know. But it also, you know, there's the other side of it. What if I wasn't playing 3 years ago and I don't have ninja to run on a, you know, maybe Sand Devil's not a great example, but the, you know, Sand Devil 24 or whatever. You know, I would certainly not like it, but I think it's yeah. So like I said, I like it, but I can see why people wouldn't like it, and I certainly don't like it on the champs that are, again, like damn near impossible to get.
Yeah. Lurking Joe, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. Jay, what do you think, man?
Yeah, it is kind of annoying, you know, not being able to get like ninja or getting this champion again. But I think that's the whole point. It's like it's not like if you don't get this, you lose, right? Like people might feel like, oh, I don't have this, I cannot win. Remember back then, people were like, oh, I didn't have ninja, don't say his name, I can't do this anymore. No, eventually we got Artek, eventually we got Newt, right? Who talks about ninja anymore? So it's like Rathalos will always be strong, and maybe some areas, if you have one, you'll be able to beat your timer. But I've always said this since the beginning when I first started the game. There's no specific champion you need to win. It's just going to take probably longer, or you have to build more, you know, stats to actually do the same that some other champion can do more optimal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so that's the only thing I can say is that, yeah, it does suck, but I mean, at the same time, it's free. Like, you know, it's a time to bring people in. They always do this to bring new people into the community, new people to teach and help out, and you don't have to spend $1. So, I mean, that's great, man. I'm happy they did it that way. They could have just made it a fusion or a fragment fusion. It's a login, so I'm happy about that.
Okay. Ken, what do you think as the $14 free to play?
I mean, he's free, so I mean, it's not bother me. Obviously, Archer girl is I'm more sad about her because I didn't manage to pull her. But it is like Jay said, it's the point. It's literally the point. I mean, I believe there is a reason for that. By the way, it's not only the raid doing that, guys. Like whenever a game or the something making a collab, there are always limited time. I think they cannot get the right of the content lifetime, or I believe that's going to be super expensive, as you guys can imagine. So they're always limited time, and when they are gone, they are gone. This is not the first time we are seeing that, like you guys mentioned earlier. Ninja, Alexander, right? Xena gonna be one of them, obviously. Again, that's the point. It's gonna be attract the people. Hey guys, look, you got that, you got, or it's gone. You know, like it's gonna be, oh man, should I open right now? You know, it's like psychology stuff. You know, like total normal stuff. Again, like it's not the rate doing that kind of stuff only. And to be honest, like obviously we are going to check rest of the Monster Hunter champion as well. But this is the one of the best, in my opinion, and he's free. Like Raid doing that again, like Raid giving us very cool champion as a daily login reward, literally free, and they are releasing more champion compared to them kind of trash, and they are like, oh, you need to open your shard. You know, I know that.
Yeah.
It's great.
Okay. Actually, we gotta, I guess, something I do want to address here. Long says, what about the players who quit for months, return, get over for $20, but players who are dedicated every day never get offered that type of deal? So for those who stopped, it's their loss. Yes. You know, the players that stick around, obviously we get the champions like Ronda, like UDK, like Artak. Like I can't tell you how many accounts now that I've been doing account takeovers that haven't logged in and are just coming back and they don't have Artak. And it's a huge loss for them, right? 100% huge loss. So the players that are sticking around are getting these limited time champions. But I think maybe I should have rephrased my question. It's more for the other 4 champions that kind of bugs me than this guy, right? Because we got the Bowman, and she, I mean, again, once the event is done in March, she's gone. She can't be obtained anymore. And I kind of feel like that hurts us, especially because there's not going to be like no like guaranteed way. I know that we're going to have a deck on one of them, but I feel like, you know, we should have something that could encourage us to play the game to acquire this champion. But let's go ahead and look at Archer. A1. First of all, let's take look-wise. What are we thinking? Skin looks good, bad? Ken?
I didn't like her skin that much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gestal?
It's reminds me of Syl kinda. I didn't understand necessarily the lore of Monster Hunter before, so I kind of felt like the bow is kind of absurdly large. How are you gonna aim something with that big of a bow? But I guess it does tie in a little bit, right, with the lore.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. It's whatever.
Jay?
Yeah. Once again, they did pretty good. It looks just like Nergigante's abilities is that he shoots out spikes. So what is a spike? If you're shooting out from long distance, would have to be an archer. So she's taking the actual spikes from Nergigante and shooting him with a bow. That's pretty cool. The abilities, once again, they're all the same, right? Like just like you would use as an actual character in Monster Hunter. So there she's playing the long range archer. I don't know if that's a longbowman or a crossbow. I don't know if that's which one that is, but it's probably heavy. Maybe it's a heavy bowman. But that's one of the weapons you can use. Looks pretty decent. Everything is the Nergante is a very spiked creature. It's all about spikes. It protects itself and it shoots out spikes. So that's pretty much what it is. It's over. Not bad. I'll give it 4 out of 5.
Okay. Just to address the question. So Ninja, Alexander, Ronda, and was there another limited champion that we got that was gone after that? I don't think so. Because Xena. There was, Xena you had to buy for, I think, what was it, $40? But everybody else you got.
You can try to pull her as well.
Yeah.
A chance.
But you got every one of those guys for free, and then they were gone. Like I said, this just, like, if they had probably gone the Xena path, I'd be less upset, to be quite honest. I just feel like, if you've got that kind of gotcha mentality, like I got to catch them all, like Pokemon, this could be very bad for you unless you're Gestal, who just pulls everything. All right, let's talk about the skill kit. A1, attacks one enemy, places a 50% increased accuracy buff on this champion for 2 turns. Defense-based, we get damage. Overall, I think okay, but nothing crazy. Kind of works like a passive from Stagnate, although Stagnates is a little, RNG on who it goes or what goes. But let's start off with Jay. What do you think?
Yeah, just standard skill. I mean, most people are gonna bring increased accuracy AOE. But if she's like soloing, I guess, or maybe if like you lose other champions and you don't have increased accuracy, this could help her stay consistent for like especially early to mid game, so you can keep landing your debuffs on the rest of her skills. Overall, yes, it's nice. At least it's places. It's not a chance, right? To like 80% chance to give increases. So at least it's guaranteed to happen. That's the good part.
Yeah. And I do wonder if it. I mean, it doesn't really matter if it does it before or after, because the A1 doesn't, put any other debuffs on. But Gestal.
Yeah, I mean, she's a debuffer for sure. To go through the rest of the kit, so getting increased accuracy is certainly good. Again, thinking about Hydra, self buffers can be problems, but as Jay said, typically you probably have an AoE increased accuracy anyway, so it really shouldn't add a buff to her. So yeah, I think it's good. Whatever. It certainly fits with the kit.
Okay. Ken.
Very standard skill, just for the Hydra. Because of A1 ability, self buff, unless you have any other champion cast an increased accuracy buff, which is only Lady Kim can do that. She can also fit on the Hydra team. Well, this ability can make her also mischief targeting if you give her resistance. So, it's not that hard to make a champion hybrid. Chris, for example, right? Chris needs accuracy and resistance. So she's gonna have a more role in the Hydra with this ability.
Yep. All right, A2. All right, here we go. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance, books up to 100% of placing a stun for 1 turn. If the target is a boss, has a 100% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed for 2 turns. Instead, also decreases the turn meter of all enemies under stun debuff by 20% from this skill. And then fills the turn meter of all allies by 10% if a decreased speed debuff is placed by this skill instead. Books down to a 3-turn cooldown. We got a lot going on here. We'll start off with Ken. Ken, what do you think?
So it's basically Mikage ability on his second form, stun and the decrease their turn meter, which is great. You can also use her in the PvE content if you pull her on the early game. Stun and the decrease turn meter is very, very strong. And 3-turn cooldown and 100% chance. We wasn't have I said that before, but we wasn't have a 3-turn cooldown, 100% chance of to place a stun champion before what was that? Ragash and before Gofret from Dwarf, right?
Yep.
It was the first time we got a Mikage, which is mythical champion. And this is another one, full control. But against the bosses, this part is, that's what I love it. she's have a great ability on the rest of the content, and she's also a great ability against the bosses, which is, if you are talking about Hydra wise, which is you should be. Decrease speed debuff, very important on the Hydra, and the filter meter of your team.
Yep.
Basically, great. Like, it's which is she's not only plays a decrease speed, by the way, but you can just even use her just for the decrease speed, which is if you give her accuracy as my bad resistance as well, she can be your decrease speed champion and the mid-shift targeting at the same time. But we didn't talk A3 yet, so it's gonna get more juicier.
Yeah, it kind of feels a little bit like a Shuzhen, like a mini Shuzhen right there. Except you're not getting the increased speed. But Gestal, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, again, given good abilities for PvE and good abilities for boss as well, PvP and PvE, but also, you know, bringing in that boss element with these Monster Hunter champs. I mean, I see nothing but helpful here, right? Like, if you're trying to progress through Doom Tower waves, you get a stun, you get turn meter. If you're trying to, and if you're going into Hydra with her, you're getting decreased speed AoE, which is huge, and you're filling the turn meter of all your allies. Like, what could be better than that? It's a pretty insane skill, 3-turn cooldown.
Yeah. Jay, thoughts?
Overall, it's a really powerful A2. Once again, it's kind of like the Blade Master, Rathalos. Like, you look at it, you're just like, dang, it's so versatile. No matter what you're attacking, either a mob or a boss, it's getting some value. And the boosting turn meter is pretty nice too. Now it is placing. Now if you weak hit, you have to be careful. You might like speed tuning. Okay, like you might get like 2, and you might calculate for 4 all the time, but you got to be careful for weak affinity because she's not placing it before she attacks. That's the only downside. But other than that, it's such a powerful skill, man. It's a mixture of AoE, you know, like a decreased speed with like a Mikage where you get to, you know, like FinalKenpachi was saying. It is conditional, right? Mikage's is not, you can just still decrease turn meter even if you don't stun. But if you do stun or decrease speed, you do get value. That's what's really nice. It doesn't matter what you're hitting, you're getting something no matter what, unless you're weak hits. So I like that. As an A2, that's pretty strong. That should have been an A3, but I guess we'll. And it's a 3-turn cooldown too. So good, man.
Nacho, I hate you. All right. Real quick, guys. NachoPlays 50. Make sure you guys click on his name and go follow him over on Twitch. And then also, I will put his link in for YouTube. Let's get him to that 1,000 subscriber mark and give our boy some help there. Yeah, A2 pretty solid, right? I'm with Ken on this, where they're making them both PvE, PvP, and you know they're making them great for, you know, whether you just want to use them for wave-based content or boss, which is phenomenal, right? But congrats to Nacho for pulling her this morning.
Oh, snap. Nice, man.
But yeah, all right, let's talk about A3. Attacks all enemies, places a hex debuff for 2 turns, and a provoke for 1 turn. If the target is a boss, places a hex debuff for 3 turns, and a provoke for 2 turns instead, on a 3-turn cooldown. I mean, I don't know what phrase I have to describe this skill, but I'm going to pass this off to Gestal first.
Yeah, absolutely insane. I mean, you take that into Hydra, Hex on all the Hydra heads, plus you get that Provoke out on a 3-turn Hex and a 2-turn Provoke. Just pure insanity for Hydra, but certainly great other places as well. Hex is insanely strong. When we did that Spooktober video back for Halloween, I brought in Mishinaki with that Hex, man. It just melts melts all the spiderlings down in the hard mode spider. I mean, Hex is insanely strong, especially when you got multiple enemies and bosses. So you getting Hex, Provoke, decrease speed on 1 champ. I mean, insane. She's seriously insane.
I just don't know. I just don't know how to. Yeah, I have no words for it, man. Jay.
It's a really powerful skill. It's the only skill that can do what it can do. And she looks like she can be played multiple ways, right? Resist, like a resist kind of mischief tank. I want to know how, I don't know her multis, but can she be a nuker as well? She can play every role. She can be PvP, she can be PvE. She's so good, man. Lots of AoEs, just good kit overall and good control. She's so strong, yeah.
Nacho. Sorry, I was just linking Nacho's YouTube. Ken. Sorry, Ken's like, I'm offended. Don't look at me. Don't.
Bro, this ability, whenever I first time read that, second part, Hex debuff for 3 turn, okay, and the provoke is 2 turn instead. Wait, what? That's literally the first champion can do that, by the way. Maoli has a 50% chance can do that, right? Like, she's not 100%. This is like 100% 2 turn. Provoke debuff. This is insanely strong. Like, even you are not gonna use her. Okay, let's say you are in the early game, you know, Hydra is not early game content. Like Doom Tower, for example, she can help you a lot. She can like stun the increased Terminator of the wave. It's not enough, then you can provoke them for 2 turn. Super insanely strong control champion for the any content in the game. But on the Hydra, Hex debuff, if you guys need I always say that if you guys need a more than 1 key, you guys need a Hex. Like, it's not a question. You guys need a Hex, okay? And Hex debuff to return, she have do that. She can do that. She also will provoke. So far, her A1 can make her mischief targeting, which is if you give her resistance. Her A2 decrease speed, fill Terminator of your ally. And her A3, Hex debuff, and the provoke debuff. She already have a 4 job for the Hydra. Single champion can do that. This kind of champion are super important on the Hydra, guys. Like, for example, like you cannot just land decrease speed champion on the Hydra, right? You are like gonna be used like champion like V6, which is she also will provoke, right? Yep. She have early protection, you know, can help you in the different thing. Islam, for example, the recent fusion, right? His A1 is a provoke, his A2 have a decrease speed, he has some buff, he has some heal from the passive skill. This kind of champion are super important on the Hydra, guys, because we can only use the 6th champion. So we need a provoke, we need a decrease speed, we need a like deep block buff, HP burn maybe, you know, Hex debuff, decrease defense, you know, they are so important. So, and if you pull her recently, guys, congrats, she's gonna be definitely change your Hydra team. Yeah, it's crazy skill, man, so strong. 3 turn as well, by the way. Cooldown.
Insane skill. Passive. Heals all allies by 10% of their max HP when attacking enemies under Hex debuff. If there are multiple champions on the team with the skill, only one will be active. Increases this champion's defense by 5% each time this champion receives hit from Hex, under a champion from Hex. Stacks up to 30%, so she can build herself with an extra 30% defense. 10% heal on anyone. I mean, do we really need any more supports in Hydra if you have her? Shit. Jay, what do you think?
Well, it synergizes well with her A3, right? She's going to be provoking people, putting Hex. Now she's healing people. First of all, we were just thinking she's a tank, and I'm like thinking, you know, when I saw her kit at first, I'm like, oh man, she's controlling, and she's a tank, cool. But I'll have to bring like a healer to bring her. And then I'm like, this is another Islan. You get to build a tank, but he's also healing people? I was like, what? And then she's making herself more tanky so she doesn't die, so she can keep doing what she needs to do. Yeah, that's just another busted passive, just like Blade Master Rathalos. So it's really strong.
Ken, what do you think?
Now she have one more ability for the Hydra wise. She's gonna heal you. I don't know how this heal gonna be. Actually, I didn't check her video, but it's better than nothing, right? Like, you are already gonna get a loss of the positive thing from her on your team. So second part is it's like a Harima A2 ability. You know, every time she uses it, she's decreasing target defense, but at the same time increasing her defense. So you can also make her DPS, I believe. Obviously, you cannot make her enough accuracy and mischief targeting. So if you give up to mischief targeting, I believe she can also hit hard from this passive skill. She's also defensive champion, so giving her more damage is gonna make her more tankier, basically. So yeah.
Yeah, very, very, very strong. Gestal?
Yeah, I love it. A little extra healing, top you off, or get the heals up a little bit, and then she gets a little tankier. I mean, it's every ability's good, every ability is strong. You know, it's unfortunate that it's, you know, damn near impossible to get her. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, that's what pisses me off. That's what pisses me off. You know, I'm trying. My New Year's resolution was to try to be more positive about what's going on, but I guess if I have nothing good to say, I won't say it. All right, so the next champion we have was I forget which faction. Help me out here. Right here.
Night Revenant.
We had the Void guy, Feltus. Looks cool, right? Sword is huge, kind of like what Jay wanted, right? Kind of an odd position to hold it, but Jay, I'm going to lead you. Actually, I'm going to go to you last because you have more experience on this. But Ken, what do you think? Looks wise.
It's looking pretty solid. I mean, pretty badass actually. I really like it. He's a Sauron eye here.
Gestal, what do you think?
Yeah, he's cool, man. You know, I guess he fits Dark Elves. I don't know. Dark Elves is like a weird faction to me. They just kind of throw like all sorts of different people in with the Dark Elves. But I think it looks cool. This is more of what I would expect from a champion from Monster Hunter, like the oversized weapon and the cool the cool kind of gear. So I feel like it fits it well.
Okay. Jay?
So Fatalis Blade Master is the great sword weapon user. So of course it's going to be a big weapon because it's the great sword. It looks just like the Fatalis. It looks like the one in game of Monster Hunters, which is good. Everything looks like if you were playing the game, it looks everything like that. So that's a good job that they did because it looks same way that my character looks in game. He's wearing the Fatalis gear, so that's when killing the end game boss in Monster Hunter. How does it look? It looks pretty nice. I don't remember seeing the eyeballs. Everything else looks very similar. But that is a really cool little twist on there. That could be, I don't know if that's an augment or something, but overall it looks pretty sick. And he's a void, right? So I was like, when I saw him, I was like, oh man, he's gonna probably have OP skills.
Yeah, you hit that not on the nose with the OP skills, though. A lot of people are pissed about this guy. Let's start with the A1. Attacks one enemy, will ignore 15% of the target's defense if this attack is critical. Also has a 20% chance of granting an extra turn. Kind of like a Rotos A1, getting some extra turns vibes from there. Yeah, what do we feel about the A1, Gestal?
I mean, it's ignore 15 of the target's defense if it's critical. Obviously, it's always going to be critical. 20% of granting an extra turn. Extra turns are always really nice. 20% doesn't get booked up at all. But I would say decent A1. He is HP based. I'm sure we'll get into it, but he doesn't really hit very hard. So that's kind of unfortunate.
Right, sorry about that, guys. We just got a notification that we're going to get like a huge hailstorm around here, and my lights just flickered on and off. So that was my wife calling. I was like, "Are you okay?" because she was out shopping. Ken, what do you think about the A1?
Very solid A1 on the paper. Obviously, multiplier is saying the opposite. This A1 skill has 0.22 HP multiplier. And for example, just gonna give you guys an example. Give me just 1 second. RX A1, which is AoE attack, is 0.22 as well. So it's the same ability. One of them AoE attack, the other one single target. Sure, he has like 15% ignore defense, but which one you guys prefer?
I'm gonna go with Aaron X. Jay.
Yeah, the skills, it's the normal skill you use. The way to use a greatsword is you charge it, and then you slash, and then you roll and do it again, and then you could do a better version of it. But overall, ignoring defense is pretty. It makes sense because that thing does hit hard. It would have been better if it was 25. But overall, and it's conditional. Why does that have to crit? It's a void. This is not like a rare or like a regular Lego. I think it shouldn't have be like that. But whatever. Extra turn is pretty nice, and he's an HP champion. That's good too. So it's not, you don't have to build him like attack. It could be tanky, right? So a damage champion. But overall, in terms of multipliers, 0.22 is kind of low. Most people that are HP champions have 0.25s on A1s. So 0.3 less than what he's supposed to have for free. So that's probably something that player might have to look into adjusting.
So we could possibly be getting a buff for this guy. Fix. I think we're just going to start using the word rebalance. Christoph, thank you very much for the follow over on Twitch. God King, likewise, thank you very much for the follow over on Twitch. Appreciate you guys. All right, so A2 attacks one enemy will ignore strengthened shield, will ignore strengthened stone skin, increase defense, and ally protect. Also ignores 15% of the target's defense if this attack is critical. Decreases the attack by the target's attack by 10%, stacks up to 30%. Books down to a 3-turn cooldown. Kind of works like a Georgid and Taras mix kind of vibe, but not even close, I feel. Let's go with Gestal first. What do you think?
Yeah, obviously looks great on paper. I have not tested him, but I've heard that he hits like a wet noodle. I feel like they're almost afraid to make another Georgid. I don't know, man, because all these new champs that come out that ignore Stone Skin are garbage. Like, this dude apparently is just like a Leo. Leo is not really a damage dealer. He's almost more of a support. And this guy is not even. I don't know. Like, he should be able to come in and knock down someone in Stone Skin, right? Like, that's kind of what it feels like this ability should be. He's got this huge sword, slice right through that Stone Skin like it's nothing. But it doesn't sound like that's what's gonna happen. That's unfortunate. And to the other points that we were talking about, these other champs, he's not getting any sort of bonus if he's attacking a boss, right? Like, all the other guys are. This dude's the Void champ, and he doesn't seem to be getting anything extra. And to Jay's point, it's almost like he has to have these conditionals of critting. Obviously, you're going to build him with 100% crit. So now we're relying on the 3% not critting for these abilities not to be as effective. That's ridiculous.
Right. Jay.
Yeah, in general, as the skill reads, it is pretty good to be able to ignore a lot of that stuff. But multis are still a little bit low. But I do like the fact that I know Gestal did post out that you can't target, but they removed it. So now instead of saying boss, you could use this on either. It's not like the other champions were like, oh, we're strong, and then we get stronger on bosses. But this is not. It removed it. So instead, it's like you don't need. It doesn't have to be a boss. It could be
That's true.
it could be enemy champion, or it could be a boss.
Okay.
You can always guarantee decrease attack. So
I just want I want a little more, that's all.
Yeah. I don't like the fact that it's critical. I think it should have just been this always crits, right? We could just not have to build crit and just build crit damage, but then maybe that'd be too much. But I would have thought that would be okay. But the fact that we can decrease attack per target, and it doesn't say this only works on one. You could start using that on Centrenos, multiple bosses. You can decrease 30%, total. So if they have 100, now there's 70% attack. That's not including decrease attack debuff or any other champions that decrease attack, like who's going to use Supreme Athel, but as an example, that can get kind of crazy, especially for long fights like Clan Boss or Hydra, things like that. That could be pretty good on 3-turn. I just, people are a little upset that it should have been like the huge big nuke, like Lethal should have been and stuff like that. Hopefully they'll fix that. Then he can be really good in arena as well. But it seems right now, pretty like a PvE champion right now.
Yeah. Luke Skywalker just said he got it on his referral account that he's using for Chronum. At this point, my friend, I'm willing to say it's no loss, but yeah, referral account or alt accounts kind of suck. Some of the champions that I have on my alt, I wish I could get on my main, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't. You figure HP based, he should be hitting hard. He should be doing a lot more damage. But from what I've seen with what they've done for videos out there, it's not. It's very underwhelming. Very underwhelming. A3 attacks all enemies, will ignore 15% of the target's defense if the attack is critical. Decreases the target's defense by 5%. Stacks up to 30% on a 3-turn cooldown. Kind of, a meh ability. I feel, we're getting a login champion that can ignore more defense and that can do a lot more. And this guy is too conditional. But the A3, I'm not, it's just garbage. Gestal, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, if it's not hitting hard, then the AoE side, like the damage side of it's obviously not going to be great, right? But the decrease, so the fact that he's on the A2, he's decreasing the attack, and then on the A3, he's decreasing defense. I mean, that you can't really ignore that because it doesn't have like the buff or debuff next to it. In terms of what he's bringing. So I do think that is probably a pretty strong part of his kit. But to me, he should be bringing the damage and not necessarily be looked at as it's not even a debuffer, but like someone who's gonna be bringing in more supporty type help to a long fight, like Jay said, somewhere where you're hitting these people a lot. Yeah, I don't know. It does seem underwhelming. It does. And if it's hitting weak like the other ones, then not so great, right? But I think the decrease targets defense that could be pretty strong. I think that could be pretty good.
Okay. Ken, what do you think?
This is actually one of his best ability compared to the rest of them. Attack enemy. Ignore 50% target defense, right? If this is critical. I think they include in this critical stuff more like in future content. I feel like we are gonna get more enfeeble debuff. Champion who can cast more enfeeble. We got a new mythical champion, right? He's the first champion cast an AoE enfeeble debuff. Or something like reaction accessories, obviously still very strong. They don't want him to deal extra damage on the reaction. Decreasing their defense, AoE decrease defense. It's like a Harima A2 ability, but AoE version. This is actually very, very solid. Attack enemy as well. 13 cooldown as well. This ability is very solid. Again, like I watched some videos. I watched like Jedi video, MTG Jedi video. He actually made a very, very strong stat, I would like to say, in Savage Gear. But like I believe he used this attack there and he didn't even kill the Yumeko. It was a reaction, by the way. Like how many people have a Yumeko like very tanky. You know, like I don't think that was very tanky, Yumeko. So I'm like, you know, like. I hope Pilgrim will fix him soon, so people will get him, can really enjoy him. He's a Void legendary, right? Like I don't want trash Void legendary in this game. At least we cannot pull him after March 5. That's a good thing, actually.
I guess he
So he's
won't
not
water
gonna be
down the
pulled.
pool that much.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually like this skill a lot. There's not that many other champions other than Krokmar that can AoE decrease like defense and other stats too. So it's pretty good to be able to stack this up. I don't like the fact that it's 5%. It should have been 10. The fact that they use this skill 6 times, you know, think of it as cruelty. A lot of people are using cruelty. If you bring decreased defense with, like, let's say, like, give an example. You're in Hydra and you use Ugo. You bring 60% decreased defense plus block buffs, and then you stack that with this. Now you're reducing all those bosses' defense by 90. That's a lot, and that's permanent. It's not like a debuff that can go away and get cleansed. So that is really strong for like I once again, I know he's a great sword user, so it would make more sense for PvP. But overall, it's like they made him very tanky with his passive and his other skills, but he's for the long run. I guess maybe for a defense would be good, but for an offense, he's kind of meh, you know. But in PvE content, he's looking pretty stacked. He looks really strong.
Yeah, to your point, Jay, you got to use this 6 times for arena. I mean, if you're coming back to this guy 6 times, you're not going to kill anything. Let's be honest. Wave-based content, maybe. But yeah, I think this is more, I think he was designed more for Hydra than anything else. Because, I mean, the A2 and the A3 really just don't make sense. Like the A2, yes, I could see this being used for arena because it makes sense, but the A3, you're really not going to use this skill to try to stack it up, right? But
I wish it's each attack decreasing their defense, like a Harima. For example, Harima attacking 3 times, and each attack is decreasing their defense by 5%. So it's literally like one skill is doing 15%.
Yeah.
I wish like each enemy he's hitting is reducing. I mean, stack up already, you know, like 5%, 10%, 15%, and 20% already, you know. That will be cool.
They should just make it a multi-hit. Attacks enemies 2 times.
Yeah, that will be sick. That will be sick.
Yep. All right, let's talk about, I guess this is his A4. Attacks one enemy will ignore 50% of the target's defense. Fills this champion's turn meter by 50% if the attack is critical. Damage inflicted by this skill cannot be decreased by enemy passive skills or masteries except for the passive skills of bosses. So kind of like a Corrado Fox Hunter. Damage inflicted by this skill cannot be increased by either this champion's masteries or allies' passive skills except when attacking bosses. This is a secret skill and can only become available when any 3 of these champion skills are used in a round. All right, so a lot of conditions. I'm getting a Corrado Fox Hunter vibe from this, right? The secret skill. But I don't know. Like, where would we see this in action? Like, we have to. It looks like boss fights because arena isn't really gonna work. Again, we got to use 3 skills. Chances are, you know, you're not going to be in an arena fight that long for this guy to rotate through 3 skills. But Gestal, what are we thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you go super tanky in a live arena fight or something, you could certainly get this to at least go off once. Now, is that going to, you know, make a game changer? I don't know. From what I've heard, it doesn't hit that hard. So even with all this, you know, ignore this and ignore that, whatever, it doesn't seem like it's still even going to be that great, even if you are able to get it to proc. Now, the fact that we've been talking more PvE, I wonder if this would be good to use, if you're trying to get a devoured champ out on Hydra. I wonder if that would, maybe a good place to kind of use it. Other than that, I don't know. I don't really know.
Okay. Ken.
Too much condition for the single target skill, and it's not even that strong, to be honest. Like, single target basically means ultimate Death Knight. He's just gonna attack ultimate Death Knight. Yes, sure, he's gonna ignore the stone skin, etc, etc, etc. Georgette also do that, right? But I know there's some crazy Georgette build out there, guys, but there is also crazy ultimate Death Knight build out there, so they have 3 reaction accessories. So even Georgette cannot one-shot the ultimate Death Knight because reaction gonna be proc. Same rule here. Like, obviously, like, to unlock this skill you have to use like 3 skill first, so ultimate Death Knight not gonna react you. But after you got a 3 turn ultimate Death Knight already gonna lose his stone skin, etc, 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 right? Which is, this skin not ignoring stone skin at all. Actually, I totally forget that. Yeah, man, I don't think this skill is good. Live arena, like you guys said, can be nice, because live arena fight can go longer. Actually, usually, like, from my experience, there is not many long fight in the Gold 3 live arena. But same for the Gold 2, but again, especially his passive skill looking a little bit promising. But this secret skill, if this is like AoE attack, that will be nice.
Yep. Nacho brings up a good point here. Ally attacks count as a skill use on the A1. So, if you're working with like kind of like the strategy that I use for Live Arena right now, which is a double ally attack. So I use Cardiel.
Is that Cardiel Necrot?
Cardiel and Mikage.
Okay. It's even worse.
It's kind of what it yields me like a 75% win rate. Usually,
it's so broken. It's so stupid. By the way, it's super stupid.
They always ban my Sephi, and I'm like, yes, thank you. And then you put in a Torment in there just to disrupt their Arbiter, and they're like, shit. But yeah, you could use it there. But Jay, what do you think?
This is his main skill. If you're a great sword user, True Charge Slash is the skill. It can topple down the monsters, flip them over. You can go ham on them. It can stun them. It can do massive numbers. It's supposed to be like, because you're supposed to basically use multiple A1s and A2s and charge yourself up, and then once you get stacked, you can do the True Charge Slash, which takes almost like 5 seconds of animations. It's a long skill to actually hit the boss with it, but once you hit it, it nukes. This skill though, it should have ignored 100% defense. Like, why can a champion that's non-void do it AoE? What? But he doesn't. 50% ignored defense is not bad. Fills turn meter by 50. It's not bad as well. The whole Karato thing, that's pretty cool. I do like that. The secret skill of being able to use 3, I just explained it. As the character in Monster Hunter, you have to charge up multiple, and then you're allowed to use this. So I understand why that, but in PvP, that's just gonna take too long, maybe. I don't know the multis on this, but it should one-shot. It should be like a Taras A2, but with ignore defense, right? Like, it should. He doesn't even have that, so I would consider it. I would adjust it. If it's not going to do double damage like Taras A2, then it needs to ignore 100% defense for it to be the actual skill that, a Blade Master Charge blade should use.
Jay, we don't need another Taras.
Well, it's a secret skill. It's not
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This Fatalist Blade Master, this is like end game boss in the Monster Hunter, right?
Yeah.
And it's you are getting like one of the best gear from him, right?
Game. Like 120 hours into the game.
Yeah, looks like Ray does not play that game, so.
All right. Passive places a shield buff on this champion equal to 25% of their max HP for 2 turns at the end of their turn. This champion cannot receive critical hits while under a shield buff placed by this champion. I think completely weak. Like I just yeah. Very very weak. Like Jay, take it off. I can't. I'm just too upset to say anything about it.
Actually, this once again, even though we've been trying to push this guy for PvP, this makes him a perfect solo boss champion. Because he doesn't get crit. If he gets the shield, you can build him a little bit of mortal and regeneration, and you'll never die. The fact that he's decreasing the boss's attack as well in the A2, so in long fights, he looks like a monster. He's never gonna die. That's what he seems like. But the problem is, it's not like the A2 is AOE. It's not, he doesn't have multi AOEs. He doesn't have big multipliers. So that's the only downside. So overall, as a champion in raid, as Void HP nuker, he's more like an HP kind of support that's just tanky and does some damage.
I'm reading the chat as I stated that comment, and that's pretty much why I'm kind of like it's not like give him an increased damage while he's under a shield buff. Not he's going to be built with HP, so he's going to take that hit.
Right.
But I feel like reducing can't be crit. Okay, cool. But if his damage kit can't do much of anything, what good is it? Give him a stat boost. Like I feel like the kit would probably be way better if he's under a shield buff. He gets a stat boost. But go ahead, Jay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's actually very similar to the actual gear set Fatalis. Once you're wearing it, you can't be like affected like a crit and stuff like that. So it's very similar to the game. And you do get like buffs as well. But it's not a shield buff, but it's basically buffs, but it's strong buffs. I just think it should have been like if the shield doesn't fall off, then he ignores more defense. So let's say you still have this, like someone hits you, but you still have more shield available. You should be able to ignore another 25 defense. They should do something like that. That would, at least be good for both PvE and PvP. But
okay, Gestal.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, you're gonna be building them with a lot of HP, so let's just say you build them with 100,000 to make things easy. That's a 25k shield. That's pretty nice. That's for 2 turns. It has to be a shield that he places though, right? The champion cannot be crit while under shield that is placed by this champ. So if another shield overrides it, or obviously he loses the shield, or I think it could be something that's not going to be as consistent as you might think, but it's 25% is a pretty big shield, especially for an HP champ.
Right. For a lot of people out there, I come in with a Ramontu and I strip that shield buff. Well, hey, guess what? That passive is no longer viable, right? It's not even protected. So this is kind of why I'm like, it's not a great skill, right? Mikage comes in and kind of strips us off. So it's really not everything we're thinking it to be. Ken, prove me wrong.
Jay actually got a different view on this champion. Actually, like great idea, like using him against the bosses because of this passive skill. He's always gonna get a shield, and if you give him regen set, regen damage gear, I mean, he can pretty much to solo the bosses because enemies, included bosses, right, cannot crit attack on him. This is very solid because he's a HP based champion, and the shield scale of his HP. So like it just said, like if you give him 100k HP, very normal, you can do it. What is his base HP actually?
23k.
23k. Okay, that's pretty solid. So you can definitely make him 100k HP in very strong DPS stat as well, critical damage. This is very strong passive skill. Obviously, like you can counter him. Like it's not like Brockney shield cannot be removable or stuff like that. But if you're thinking about on the live arena, like if somebody bring a fatalist there, then you are said, oh man, I need a stripper against you, right? Then you have to place a stripper. Otherwise, you are gonna get struggle, right? Or if he ban your let's say the stripper, then you are gonna get annoyed by him. You have to kill him somehow. My does anybody know that? Like, is that working on the shield set? If we give him shield set?
No, it has to be placed by him.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, another thing you can give him master is, when he killed the target, you can also replace your shield. I believe that's gonna be work with it. This passive skill. This passive skill really make him unique, in my opinion. I believe it's a strong, but again, like it's not like unbreakable strong. Like you can counter him with Romanto or any stripper. I agree with you. Definitely the more he's a Void legendary. He's Void legendary limited champion. His multiplier are weak. His skill kind of weak. I wish he has like more AoE attack. But yeah, we are gonna test him actually in the CVC. Michael and Matt get him. So I'll let you guys know next week, I guess.
Okay. Helder, we're gonna be getting a rebalance to sheep. So I mean, we've already seen Ramantu come in on a lot of live arena fights, especially in like Gold 3, Gold 2. As soon as he comes up, I ban him because he's that much of a pain. But that's why I'm saying. So he gets it at the end of his turn. So when you start off, he's not going to have this passive skill, right? It's not gonna work. All right. So, real quick, scale from 1 to 5. What are we giving him? Jay.
For PvP, I give him a 1 out of 5, but for PvE, he's a 5 out of 5.
Ken.
PvP 2, PvE 3.5.
Okay. Gestal.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, after we've kind of talked about it, him being more of a PvE champ, and I guess that does fit more of the theme of a Monster Hunter, right? That's more the PvE side of this game. I would give him 3.5 overall. I don't see ever taking him into live arena or anything though.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead with a 3. I think that's a fair assessment there because he, like Jay pointed out, could do some solo stuff. Especially because he can't get crit after he places a shield on him. But yeah, I think Plarium, that guy that's sitting behind the desk right now watching us, making sure we're not breaking any NDAs or anything like that. Just give the suits a little bit of information and tell them that we need this guy rebalanced. Okay. All right, let's go to Night Revs next, and we've got Blade Master. Looks wise, what are we thinking? Ken.
I like it. It's very cool weapon actually. I never see something like that. It's like two-handed, I think. So I really like it, yeah. Design very solid.
Okay. Gestal?
Yeah, I think he's pretty awesome, man. Fits the Night Rev theme. Obviously, don't know how that ties into the Monster Hunter. I'm sure they seem to have done pretty well based on what Jay's been saying. So I think he looks cool, man. Yeah, super weird scythe. I didn't even know it was a scythe at first. I had to go look other places to get like the full image of him. You can't see him all the way in the index here, but this guy, man, I don't know if people are talking about him or not. I think this dude is pretty insane. I think he overall is gonna be a pretty awesome champ.
Okay. Before I get to Jay, I'm gonna give my opinion. I do like it. I thought that this was a bow for a minute. I was like, this is a very weird looking bow. And then realized that it was actually wood. I was like, okay. I do like the crossbow that he's got here, though. I think that's kind of cool. So it's like, yeah, I'm gonna mess with you, but then hey, poison dart. But Jay, break it down for us, man.
Yeah. I mean, he looks just like a Latreon. which is like a magic dragon that does different spells. Would have liked to see him probably in a different faction though. But overall, it looks just like the gear set. And the weapon usage is very interesting as well. I usually wouldn't build that way with that gear set, but overall, it looks very unique. For raid. Night Revenant, I was very interested. I was curious because they're very soulless type of humans. They're not they're existing, but they're not. So it just makes me wonder if they were trying to go on like a spirit type of kind of vibe for Latreon, but that's the only thing I was thinking about.
Yeah, he doesn't really fit. Like they look more like a mix between undead and something else, but he doesn't fit that characteristic right there. I don't know.
I mean, his eye is glowing.
I guess. All right, let's get into the A1. Attacks one enemy, has a 40% chance, books up to 65% chance of increasing durations of 2 random buffs on all allies by 1 turn. Keyword being random right there. But Ken, thoughts?
It's very solid ability for the A1 skill. Like very very good. Like if you gonna use him as a duo in the dungeon, for example, you can stack up that you are gonna have a buff forever, right? If you are a duo, which is you can.
Okay. Gestal?
Yeah, interesting. Books up to 55% of increasing the duration of 2 random buffs. Obviously it's the A1, so if you got a counterattack or ally attack, that's going to proc a lot more. So, a pretty good A1. Not the greatest thing in the world, but definitely solid.
Okay. Apparently, he can increase durations of protected buffs as well.
Yeah.
Chat just told us that. Jay.
Yeah, really, really good synergy because once we get to the rest of the kits, we'll see how that works into his other skills. The chance is a little low. I was hoping for at least another 20%. But it's he's an HP champion, so he's tanky. And then you can do like on FinalKenpachi said, you could do duo strategies. Bring like Mithrala, brings that strength and increased shield. Now it's getting extended even longer. So you could do a lot of different things. I'm actually curious to see what people do with that.
Okay.
Can I ask a question real
Yep.
quick then? This protected buff doesn't include stone skins, right?
I hope not. I think it's just protected buffs placed like Marechka's Strengthen or Brogni's Shield.
Yeah,
But
green bar. The buff with the green bar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shit, Ken, I hope not. and oh man. All right. A2. Attacks all enemies, places a 60% increased defense, and a shield buff on all allies. The shield buff is equal to 30% of this champion's max HP, so we're talking, we could easily build him with like 100k HP, 30k shield. Great for clan boss. If the target is a boss, these buffs are protected. Hydra, perfect champion right there. Books down to a 3-turn cooldown. That is massive. Let's start with Gestal first.
Yeah, I mean, bringing in that boss energy, protected buffs, increased defense, and a shield, especially in Hydra, as you just said. Don't have to worry about him getting stolen. Really, really, really strong for PvE. This is pretty awesome.
Okay. Chat just told us that unkillable block damage and stone skin cannot be increased by this guy, so that's good. Ken.
Overrated.
Okay. All right.
Increased defense and the shield protected buff, so what? Like, I don't have a protected buff on my Hydra team. And I'm doing like 400 million damage on the Brutal recently. Almost 400 million, 390. But so what? We have an Ogre, right? But this is what we need a block buff for. Like we cannot, like his buff is protected, which is increased defense and shield. Shield is totally, shield can be broke by the way, so shield gonna be useless. Only the increased defense we can talk about it. But rest of your team, if you have any other buffer, their skill is not gonna be get protected, so you cannot build a team around of him. You know, like for example, like if you are gonna bring an increased speed champion on your team, you can't. They can still steal it, right? I feel like this skill is a little bit overrated. Maybe he has some usage. I mean, obviously he's gonna be great against Amuse, right? But again, like we are killing the Amuse with a protected buff as well, so can be help on the early game, can be very solid on the early game, but as an end game perspective, I really don't see this skill that great, man.
I think he's gonna do great for Bommel. You know, 30% shield for a lot of people that don't have it. Scarab King definitely can work.
Yeah, but for the end game perspective, like, you know, like none of us, most of us doesn't have a problem against this kind of content.
Right.
So, like, yeah.
Okay. Gestal?
I think you already asked me.
Oh, I did.
Right?
Sorry. Yep.
Yeah,
Jay.
Is actually a very good skill. Because the damage you take gets mitigated. So you build defense, you get increased defense. The shield that's gonna come in is gonna reduce if you have increased defense, you're gonna the chance of the shield not going away is gonna be even stronger. How do we know that? Well, look at Mithrala. Mithrala puts a shield, cleanse, strengthen, and then when you get to the A2, if she gets 2 turns and does that, it's hard to get through. You're just like, oh, now I gotta go through her shield. Oh, wait, UDK just used his shield, then Mithrala got the shield again. You're like, and the increased defense with the Hex, you start getting petrified. So, very strong A2, in my opinion. Really good no matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you're early game or late game. You can use it on Griffin, Bommel, Hydra, Amius, duo bosses now it's in Tranos. It's super, super strong skill. And the great thing about this champion is 110 base speed, so you don't have to build them like a, insanely like high defense. If you want to go straight HP like a Mithrala and go really fast, you don't have to cap yourself out at like 270, 280. You can actually go even further if you wanted to, right? Which is crazy, I think. Really fast champion. I think it's a really good skill, personally. Yeah, I like it a lot, actually. You can put them in stun set if you need progressing. You need to, put stuff, or you want to put them in toxic. You can do whatever you want. War Master, you don't have to do that. You can go more defense tree if you want. It's very versatile. It's not like super specific, which is nice.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the guy we're gonna have the special event and get the path event for. Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of us will have the chance to get him as long as you've been saving some shards.
Well, we don't know it'll be shards, but it's probably gonna be shards.
Yeah, it's any path event guys looking at it, I could tell you it's gonna be shards. So I've been saving my voids and my primals along with some of my sacreds. So we'll see. All right, A3 removes all buffs from all debuffs from all allies. Places a block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns. If a boss is present in the current round, this buff is protected. Books down to a 3-turn cleanse. Solid for clan boss. Solid for Hydra. 3-turn cleanse. Just about anywhere in the game, right? Ken, what do you think?
On the Hydra, to be honest, like this kind of champion, it's like a fighting, right? I mean, here's the thing, bro. If you are gonna bring a cleanser block debuff, right, on the Hydra, it's good, which is not gonna help you against the fear. I mean, you can cleanse the fear, but you cannot keep do that because it's a 3-turn cooldown, right? So you can either need a Shamal there or you need a Veil champion, which is the Duchess. Like, I'm asking you guys, like, will you guys prefer him on your Hydra, or will you guys prefer Phytion in your Hydra, which is Phytion is a revive? That's the thing between. That's why I don't like him. He doesn't have a revive. He's a support character, but doesn't have a revive. Sure, his skills are protected, but so what? Protected doesn't mean Hydra cannot kill you. And he's a support. Like, you cannot bring there's a cleanser and a reviver on your team. Like, again, like I'm talking about like end game perspective. Try to maximize our damage, right? Obviously on early game, like this is a great ability. You know, like I love like Triton cooldown cleanse ability at the same time block debuff. I love this kind of skill. But again, like most of the champion who already doing this ability on the game has a revive. Phytion, Elva, she have a single target, but still, you know. Is there any other champion can do that? Mithril have it, but Mithril doesn't have a revive, so cool. Triton cooldown again, like very solid ability, but end game perspective, not really.
Okay, so let me paint this picture. Sorry, my nightmare team. I use Cardiel. I don't use any sort of revivers. I don't have a Duchess. I don't have Pythion or anything like that. And I feel this guy, once I get him, would be a very strong candidate for a Guardian set because he's HP based, right? Brings the increased defense, increased defense, brings the shield buff, and brings the block debuffs. I feel like that could be very well, especially because of his passive.
Do you think you are going to replace Cardiel with him?
I mean, Cardiel brings in the ally attack, but I do have a Tuhana Rock that I bring in. Could he, for my team, he's not going to change anything. But I'm thinking, for somebody who's not running the Cardiel team that I am, or maybe even my Brutal team, I think he might actually make a big difference. Because again, we stack him up with 100k HP. He's able to soak some of that damage up. He's going to heal back up from the Guardian set, plus his passive, plus the protected buffs. I mean, what other buffs are you looking for in Hydra, right? You want increased defense, you want shields, you want block debuffs, you want...
increased attack.
If you're bringing an attack, if you're bringing an attack-based champion, you want increased attack, you want increased speed.
Veil.
You want Veil, yep. So he's bringing 3 out of the buffs that you need that are already protected. So
obviously, it's not fair to judge. I mean, compare him between the Cardiel and Cardiel is Void Legendary champion.
Right.
But like I said earlier, like this dude is solid, but he's missing something, man. He must be a revive.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah. Gestal, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm in love with him for Hydra per se. I think it's more like the potential future content. The fact that you're getting protected buffs on bosses, I think he's gonna be. I think he could be very useful down the road. I think that could really play in. I don't think he's necessarily a Hydra champ. Maybe if they had like block debuffs and a perfect Veil, it might be a bit much, or a Veil on this A3 that would certainly make him a lot more viable in Hydra, especially if they were both protected. You get up there and this dude's just dropping 4 insanely good buffs for Hydra. I don't think that are all protected. I don't think you could say no to that. But the fact that it is block debuffs and not the Veil, where you, as Kenpachi said, you're still getting that fear, and that's who really cares about the other debuffs that they're throwing out there? It's the fear that's really the killer. The Veil almost would have been better here. Remove all debuffs and put the Veil on instead of block debuffs. I feel like block debuffs would be probably is gonna be better long term for something else, not necessarily for Hydra. So. Yeah, it's a super interesting ability. I think this guy. I think long term we're gonna look back and I think this guy might be kind of cream of the crop because they are protected. And I think that could weigh pretty large down the road for sure.
Okay, Jay.
Yeah, the skill is actually really strong. The only downside is that it doesn't have any turn meter boost. Usually, like Akaja's recent champion that has almost the same thing. It's not protected, but she is a reviver. But that's the only thing I could say that would have been cool here. Like, even a 10% or 15 would have been really good. He's like I said earlier, he's 110 base speed. So he's supposed to be a champion that goes really, really fast, keeps putting the A2 and A3 and spamming it over and over and over. So you can almost have basically block debuffs and increased defense permanently, right? And his A1 extends durations of buffs. So if you bring, other champions too that synergize, that could be nuts. The only thing that actually upsets me is not his A1 through A3s, it's the passive. And when we get there, I'll talk why.
Okay. So let's jump into the passive. Fills this champion's turn meter by 5% each time a debuff is placed on them. Also heals this champion by 5% of their max HP whenever a debuff is placed on him and expires or removed. I see where Jay is going to go with this. I feel like it should be the other way around. It should be buffs. But, Ken, thoughts on this?
Yeah, it should be like opposite. Right now, it doesn't make sense at all. Like, his custom protected block debuff, so basically you are not going to get a debuff. So this passive skill basically means nothing.
Okay. Gestal?
Yeah, it's exactly it. It's backwards. You're bringing in a guy that cleanses and then puts a block debuffs out that's protected. This passive's negated, then it's kind of dumb.
And Jay, take it away.
So normally when we build our supports, very fast supports, usually like 300 speed or 275 or however you're doing them, you're usually going to build what? Full speed? Well, this one needs to be HP because of the skill kit, the A2. But then what's another good stat that we usually use? Defense or resist. So like, yes, he's using the A3, but let's say you didn't want to, you just want to use A1, A2, and A1s to keep increasing the duration of buffs. But then you got to build resist, because who doesn't build Pythians or other champions, Wellas with high resist? And then how are you gonna have this passive go on your champion if you're building high resist? So it doesn't make sense with the A3, and it doesn't make sense with the normal way to build supports. So yeah, it should have just been buffs, honestly. If it was buff, it would have been amazing. This would be insane, actually.
Okay. Scale from 1 to 5. What are we grading him? Let's start with Ken first.
4, he's gonna be insanely strong on the Amuse. There is some leak data mined information about the future rotation. Looks like we are gonna see Night Revenant twice. So, if you got him already, congrats. You can use him twice.
Okay. Gestal.
Yeah, I think a 4. I think it's a good number. I think very good in the bosses. I think Amius for sure, and I think future content he could be really strong. I think protected buffs and that they're all pretty strong defensive buffs that would really help out a whole team. I think he's a solid 4 for sure.
Okay. Jay?
Yeah, he's a solid 4. The moment they change that passive to buffs, this guy just never dies, honestly. He's always going to be self-healing himself, boosting himself like crazy. If Flair wants to change, rebalance it, that's what I would do. But otherwise he's a good solid 4.
Yeah, I agree. Solid 4 with, if the passive was just flipped, would be an automatic 5. It looks like 36 people already have him, and they're pretty much in the same boat. About a 4, 4.5. Some people are giving him an 8, 4.8, 4.9, but pretty solid. All right, and the last guy was, I think, Sylvan Watchers.
Shadow.
What was it?
Fusion Shadowkin.
Oh, Shadowkin. Right. Right. Blade Master. All right. Looks wise. What are we thinking? Gestal.
Yeah, she looks cool. Pretty colorful for Shadowkin, I feel like. Maybe it works well, but definitely, I don't know. I like her. Definitely cool.
Okay. Ken?
Can you turn her back and zoom a little bit?
PG-13, Ken. PG-13.
There is a double dot there. You saw that? Like on her back? Right there? Yep. I love them, bro. Like, I really love them. Like, this is 10-10, bro. Like, this amazing. Like, even, like, let me tell you. So, okay, like, even her skill are trash. We are going to talk about that. I will go for her. Like, not even a question.
Okay.
Not even a question.
All right. Jay.
Oh yeah, definitely 10 out of 10. Honestly, it looks like just we're playing the game. Like even better than Rathalos Blade Master. Like that looks really good too. This is literally in like what it looks like in game. I was shocked. I was like, dang. It looks a little bit, maybe the face a little bit, but other than that, like I was like, whoa. Like I was like, dang.
Okay. All right. So since we got Ken's future wife here, let's talk about her A1. Attacks one enemy 3 times, has a 30% chance of placing a 25% weaken for 2 turns. A1, what are we talking? Let's go Gestal first.
3-hitter makes me think of Fire Knight on an A1, of course. Obviously doesn't have any freeze for turn meter effects, so probably not hard mode Fire Knight. Each hit has a 30% chance of putting the weekend down. I don't know. It's okay. Not insane.
Okay. Ken?
I wish it's more useful debuff than the weaken, like I guess I said earlier for the Fire Knight Heart. It's either freeze debuff, like a G-Nut, A1, or the decrease speed debuff actually. Decrease speed debuff will be super solid. But still, I would like to say very strong skill for the A1.
Okay. Jay?
It's so blade combo is dual blades. It's 2 blades. That's a weapon style in Monster Hunter. All the skills are the same, which is good too. And I think it's synergy. They want players to get a free login, and if you go for the fragment summon, you'll be able to have decreased defense weaken versus bosses. So that's pretty interesting. In terms of triple hitting and only put a 30%, that is kind of low. I mean, we have a rare Athel who has 100% chance as a rare to guarantee. So I would have liked at least 50 or 60% on an A1, but other than that, it's okay. Triple hitter.
Okay. Not bad. Again, I would have loved to see a higher chance at 30%, but I guess if you think about it, 30% chance for each hit, 30, 35, 40%, I think would have been better. At least you have a 100% chance of landing it after each hit. Fire Knight, not going to work out well for that. I agree with Ken and Gestal. We should have had like a decrease speed or a freeze, but not really going to change anything for that. Clan Boss, though, yeah, definitely solid. All right, let's talk A2. Attacks one enemy 4 times. Each hit increases this champion's turn meter by 5%. Also places a 30% increased speed on all allies for 2 turns. And it books down to a 3-turn cooldown. So kind of works a little bit like a ninja's a 1 turn meter boosting, right? Which is going to be a little tricky for us to speed tune her with Clan Boss.
I think it's possible, right?
It's definitely possible. She does bring the increased speed on a 3-turn cooldown, which is very important for Clan Boss. And a 4-hitter, Giant Slayer, all for it. And could also, this was the one skill that I was looking at that kind of made me think maybe she's good with a Mikage on a Fire Knight comp, but we'll have to kind of test it out and see. But let's bring this over to Gestal first.
Yeah, attacks one enemy 4 times. Kind of made me think Fire Knight, but as we go more into the kit, especially the passive, I think she's definitely probably best placed for Demon Lord Clan Boss. Yeah, but the champ's turn meter, that it's always annoying when that's in there and you're trying to use someone in Clan Boss. But smart people out there, man, they always find the numbers, so I'm sure we'll find a number that fits.
Agreed.
Because you really want her in an unkillable comp. As we get to her passive, you're gonna really want her in an unkillable comp. So.
Right. Ken.
Like you said earlier, BLAZIN, this girl has lots of potential with the Mikage for the Fire Knight Heart. if you don't have a Mikage yet, guys, like I don't think this champion gonna bring you anything more than Cold Art, to be honest. Which is Cold Art also in a max HP attack, 4 turn cooldown, but still. The other thing is, you have a video, right, BLAZIN? Genzin.
Yep.
If you looked at the Genzin skill really quickly, Genzin A1 also attacking one enemy 3 times, doesn't have any debuff, but it's okay because his A2 ability has a AoE defense down. So you can pretty much use the Genzin on your Fire Knight team as a defense down champion, and he can also join your Mikage Eli attack, which is he's also Shadow King champion. It's kind of weak. Another thing this champion have beside the Genzin doesn't have increased speed buff, which is very solid. Can help your team to go faster on the Hydra. Fire Knight Heart. But again, like if you have a Genzin, I don't know if she can replace the Genzin place. But if you don't have a Genzin, which is I don't, I cannot wait to try her actually on my Fire Knight Heart team.
Yeah, the only thing with Genzin, though, is he does bring that turn meter increase on the A1. So, for him, because he's selfish. But yeah, again, I think Fire Knight, she might find a place if you have a Lady Mikage. Jay.
I feel like this is another Razovarj type of champion that if you couldn't go for that, maybe you're new or mid game now and like you couldn't go for that. This is another version of that, right? She's got the really good A1 A2 to multi hit, but she has the increased speed kind of like he did. Now he does scale higher, you can keep using it, but she's also turn meter boosting on her A2 kind of like he was doing on his A1. So I feel like she's supposed to be like another version of that where she's Shadow can use her. You can use her with Mikage and get more free attacks with the A1 default on her A1. But other than that, like that's basically what she's going to be. She's going to be somebody who needs increased speed on a champion who can consistently do it a lot, because it's not just a 3-turn cooldown. It's a lot faster than that, right? Like less than 2.8, because then you have to do the math of the increased speed with the lead aura and the turn meter boost. So that's consistently keeping increased speed on all your champions. That's really, really good for clan boss and other areas too. So I definitely think it's a really good skill overall.
I want to answer this question here from Luke Skywalker. We've got, it seems like the A1 is not per hit, but per skill, making it total 30% chance. I don't think that that's correct. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's per hit, and I think it's worded. Who else brings a weaken on the A1? Let's see. I think there's who else? No, not Harima. Okay, so Saf said it was coded that way. All right. So yeah. So then the A1 actually then is kind of trash. But all right. So that makes it a 30% chance. That's kind of very weak. Hopefully they do rebalance her properly. All right. A3 attacks one enemy 4 times before attacking, places a 50% increase attack buff on the champion for 2 turns. The first and second hit each have a 75% chance of placing a leech debuff for 2 turns. The third and fourth hit have a 75% chance of placing a decreased attack buff for 2 turns. Books down to a 3-turn cooldown with 100%. I mean, again, I'm thinking clan boss, nothing really spectacular here. We're getting a decreased attack, and even on an unkillable team, she's not going to bring a lot with the decreased attack. She's just going to fill the debuff bar with the leech and the decreased attack. So I'm not, if you're building a regular clan boss team with like a thick, massive shield, that could work. Some other bosses, even maybe normal Fire Knight might work. But I'll pass it off to Ken first.
I mean, if we are talking about Fire Knight Heart, first of all, if you are letting the boss get a turn and attack you, sure, this can help you, because the increased attack gonna be lower his damage output. But especially after we got a G-Nut, we figured out how to control him, right? His Terminator, I mean, so he's never getting a turn. So this 2 debuff over there is super useless on the Fire Knight, which is when they are give us the text, they said like, hey guys, this champion gonna be good on the Fire Knight R. I mean, sure, but I mean, like, imagine this is like decrease speed, decrease defense, like, damn, like, oh my god, like, Hydra wise, single target. That's, like, single target. Columbo, sure, like you said earlier, can be useful, but I don't think decrease attack debuff gonna be, if you don't have unkillable team, gonna keep your team alive that much, especially if she's an attack based champion. Like, even the decrease attack, she's gonna die. And Lich debuff not gonna help you if you get a one shot, right? So attack 4 time, full A2 ability also will attack 4 time, but you don't need that much multi-hit after you break the shield of the Fire Knight. I wish this is attack all enemy twice instead of attack one enemy 4 time. That will make her more viable on the Hydra wise. So
I
good
agree.
kits, but kind of wrong abilities.
Okay, I agree. If I would take the double hitter, all enemies over the one hit on the 4. Gestal.
I wish you could build champions with negative accuracy, so that you would never land a debuff with this champ, because I mean, when we get to her passive, getting a leech out is absolutely ridiculous, and you want to put her in unkillable comps, so decreased attack does nothing for you. Obviously, increased attack is good. And it's a 4-hitter, so I don't know. I'm not going to complain about that, but yeah, the debuffs are just ridiculous when it comes to basically how this champ's probably going to be used, and her passive. So I don't like this. I don't like the debuffs on this ability.
Okay, Jay, anything positive?
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a lot. So it's a 3-turn cooldown. That's good. They could have made it 4. But actually, it's a 4-hitter just like the A2. Once again, very similar to Razavarch. He brings the leech, right? He brings the increased speed. So it's another champion that can give you that for your team. Not going to be insane for Fire Knight Hard 10, but it'll help you definitely in Fire Knight to get you if you can't keep that shield down, right? So you get the leech and the decreased attack, so you don't get one shot. Good for clan boss for people who are not able to build unkillables and they have to build killables. Amazing because it brings the two strong debuffs, which is leech and decreased attack. But once again, when you start get to the passive, you start might to be like, I think she could be interesting. I've never tested her out, but could be an interesting champion to get through UDKs if you're trying to like destroy a Rhodos or destroy other champions like a Duchess because she has strong affinity. So she could be something that could sneak by a UDK and snipe people out. That could be interesting. But other than that, I haven't tested her, so I wouldn't know. So.
Okay, so you're thinking Arena Nuker because it's a multi-hitter past UDK. Okay, there could be some potential there. There could be some potential. All right, let's talk about the passive. Increases the damage this champion deals by 1% for every 1% of HP loss stacks up to 50%. This damage doubles if the target is under decreased defense buff. So this is big for unkillable. 50% damage boost. For clan boss, unkillable team under 50%. I'm waiting till everybody goes first and then I'm attacking, right? Prevents this champion's death and keeps them alive with 1% HP if hit with a fatal hit. Kind of like Elagaius, right? If this skill prevents this champion's death, heals them by 50% of their max HP. Elagaius actually just gets a shield instead. Will not prevent this champion's death if they are under heal reduction. Okay? Not sure where that falls. Probably Hydra, but let's talk passive skill. Jay, what are we thinking?
Amazing. There's so much you could use this on, like you're saying, unkillable comps. We have Emic Trunkheart now, which gives us even more damage if we can get her to lower, even lower, right? So that's pretty crazy. The decreased defense debuff is kind of like, oh, she doesn't bring that. So that's kind of annoying, but I guess they didn't want people getting like way extra damage, just like what's his name. But like I said, we're getting Rathalos Blade Master for free. So if you do this fragment summon, you can utilize them together to get that synergy, right? Where she can get even more damage. But then I like that passive too. What if you go first against me, right? You go first, and don't like get locked out. And you go first and you try to nuke my whole team. She doesn't die. She comes back. Her passive's at the perfect number because she only stacks at 50, right? So you get that max. Then I get to go, and then I get to go past your UDK. So she could be very usable in Arena. Who brings heal reduction in Arena anyways, right? So you don't really have to worry about that. So I think that's going to be very interesting.
Gestal.
Yeah, the decreased defense is a little awkward because she's putting the weekend down, but maybe they were looking to kind of synergize this with the login champ. That would make sense, as Jay said. But yeah, this is kind of other than being a multi-hit on every ability, this is kind of like this is the big thing, right? And I think it could make her viable and very interesting in like Demon Lord. It would be. I hadn't really thought of her in PvP, but it'd be interesting to see what she looks like there, especially with the prevention of death. Because that's typically the problem with attack champs, right? Like they're just gonna melt unless you got someone protecting them. So that could give her some potential there. But I think for my free-to-play account, I'm gonna build her out and try her in my clan boss team. See if I can't knock up my damage a little bit more. I feel like that's where she's probably gonna be best used.
Okay. Ken.
I don't think she's made it for Arena, to be honest. I feel like, actually Jay said earlier as well, unkillable team on the clan boss, which is unkillable team doesn't means you are not taking damage. You are taking damage. So your HP going to down, right? So, and because of that, she's already going to get some bonus damage from there. And unkillable team, most of them has a defense down, so you can get a bonus damage there as well. Obviously, like if you have like unkillable team, 1 key, good DPS champion, you don't have to worry about her. I still highly recommend it you guys get her because like she's a limited champion. After March 5, there is no way to get her. And this fusion calendar, to be honest, looking easy. You can skip one of the summon event, or you can skip 3 dungeon diver event. Which one fits perfect to you? You can skip 15 point. I mean, we are getting 15 point extra. So again, there is nothing crazy there from what I see on this passive skill. In the arena wise, actually we got a great comment from the chat. Won't double hit nukers just kill her anyways?
True.
It is, right?
True.
They are. Yeah. Because she's gonna get a 1 HP, then from the second hit she's just gonna die. So
right.
Yeah, again, like she doesn't have a AU attack as well. I don't think she's gonna be threat on the arena. Obviously, attack 4 time, bypass the ultimate Death Knight. First attack go ultimate Death Knight. Rest 3 of them is going to the initial target. Sure can work, but yeah, like from the single target champion, I want more unique ability to use them in the arena. Like Rotos, for example, if he kill, he's gonna get extra turn. I wish he have a similar thing. Otherwise, like it's really hard to kill the enemy team by the single target champion unless you use the melee attack like you do, BLAZIN. So they can be nice, you know. I lately using Quintus with the Mikage, and Quintus A1 is attack 1 enemy 4 time. It's under condition, but it's so good, man. You literally can melt the enemy team just by Quintus A1 skill. Is super cool.
So one thing I do want to mention, because Priest Guardian made a comment a little further up. She does do great damage on unkillable teams for clan boss. So the thing is, she's got to lose her HP. So for most of us that run like a traditional Demetha team, this passive skill isn't going to work for us. You're going to want to use like a Sir Nick team or a Man-Eater team, which if you're using a man-eater team, might put you under not having the decreased defense, right?
Yeah.
Because you got to bring in Painkeeper, you got to bring in Seeker, you got to bring in 2 man-eaters. But if you're doing like a
You need
one
a DPS who can land the decreased defense there.
Exactly. Unless Plarium's got something in the works to give us a decreased defense set, that we could possibly put on like our Painkeeper, that would, intent.
I actually want to spit down the
But, for like our traditional Demitha teams, she's not going to do a lot because she's not going to affect that. But most of your other clan boss teams that are unkillable, that you keep yourself under, 50% HP, that will work. Pretty solid there. All right, let's talk ratings 1 through 5. What are we talking? Gestal.
I give her a 3.
Okay. Jay.
If they fix the rebalance the A1 to be a little bit higher, I would definitely give her a 4. But for now, I'm gonna give her a 3.
Okay. Ken.
Man, 3.9.
3.9. Okay.
Yeah.
9 people have her so far, and it looks like
Fahrenheit. Damn.
Really, I'm interested to see what kind of.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a 3. I'd move her up to a 4 if one of 2 things happen. Or 2 things happen, not one of 2 things. If this was actually coded the way it should be, where each hit has a chance to land weekend, and then because again, this should be, in my opinion, a weekend, since that's what she brings instead of the decreased defense. Because again, we're not going to be able to use her with a traditional Demitha team. If they did that, I would actually give her a 5 for Clan Boss and some other content in the game. And then I could possibly see, if we're talking doubling damage on Fire Knight from her, could be as strong as Newt, maybe. But yeah. So overall, what do you guys think of the Monster Hunter champions that we've got? Jay.
Oh man, stoked. I thought they were, I was like, well, I wasn't thinking they were gonna gut them, right? Because it's a big franchise or stuff like that. But I thought it was gonna come out and be like all medium, mid tier, all like 3s, 3.5s. But we've got a lot of them are really, really good, man. There's a few, 5s, a 1, 4. I just think they little adjust on the Fatalis, a little bit adjustments there, and just the A1 of Zenogre. And then overall, they did a really good job. I like how they look. I like all their skills are based on each weapon style in Monster Hunter. And, in terms of accessibility, it's not like only a week, right? It's a few months, and we have to do certain events, but it's not like they're musts. If you don't have it, you can't win the game, right? It's not like, oh man, I don't have this. They're super OP. So overall, they're a great addition to the game, and I'm very happy that it happened. I joked about it before, and I still can't believe it's actually happening, but I'm happy that it has.
Okay. So you're a 5?
Yeah.
Okay. Gestal?
Well, I'm glad we had Jay here to kind of give us the background and fill us in, because as I said on my stream, when I went through all these champs, like, I have no background on Monster Hunter. I can't tell you if this is good or bad, if they did a good job or not. So I'm glad we have we had that insight, Jay. But just as a a promo or whatever, I think it's awesome. They brought us 5 champions. I like, it is a collector game, right? So I like that they reward the people who are playing and are consistently playing and getting those unique champs. But I also feel bad because there's a couple of those that are going to be really difficult to get. Outside the daily login and the fragments. Even the path might be super difficult for just an average player to get. So, I think overall, as a promo, super solid. I give it a 5. in terms of you know, not making all champs accessible. I don't love that. I don't love that part of it.
Okay. Ken.
I like to give it like 4 in overall. There is some very bad champion. There is especially this Void Lego. They definitely need to fix him somehow, you know. There's other champion I also don't like it. Obviously, there's some very strong champion like Archer Girl on the Hydra wise in the PV content in the game. And daily login champion looking super promising. Like, cannot wait to see your video about them actually tomorrow. So, again, he's daily login, by the way. Literally, we just need to play the game. So, even for that, to be honest, I should be give them 5. But again, this Void Lego is really Void Lego, man. Void Lego. You know. And 4. 4 is still out of 5. 4 is good. So.
Okay. I think a 4 is a fair assessment. Again, I'm not happy at the fact that we are locked after getting them, because it's literally like if they made Heroes Pass for every one of these, I think I'd be a little less salty about it. It'd make it a little easier for people to obtain them. We've got Heroes Path just for one of them. I couldn't really give a shit about the Void one because he looks absolute trash. I think he needs a rebalance, and I'm sure it's going to come sometime in the near future. Overall, though, the skill kits of what we're getting for the new champion, the login, I think that's great, right? I can't wait to test them. I'm going to do some testing with books, without books, and see how that works out. Now, real quick, each one of these is going to be empowered by a particular champion. So Blade Master is going to be empowered by Black Knight. Will you be feeding your Black Knights to empower Blade Master, Jay?
Yeah, I don't even have a Black Knight, but definitely.
Gestal?
I'm just about to check how many Black Knights I have.
I just made one.
I've only got 2.
I just made mine +2. I wish I had known about it.
Dang.
I wish I had just known.
I would have much rather have been Lord Champ for it, man. I got 5 of those.
Okay, so the fusion is going to be empowered by Jintoro. Jay.
Jintoro's a really strong champion, man. Some people would consider even powering himself. But yeah, this guy is going to be nuts. So that's why I always tell people, even to this day, I haven't empowered anyone except one champ. And I've been holding all of them, not just for Faction Guardians, but I don't see a point because you never know when they can do something in the game. So just,
Okay, so you're not going to feed Jintoro.
No, because if my first one, I'm going to actually build him. But then after that, maybe I will.
Okay. Gestal?
Jintoro's a monster clan boss. My man Mullet Reaver, shout out to Mullet Reaver, just set the new world record after Culprit Cadaver nerf using Jintoro and Demon Lord. So he's a beast, man. But yeah, I don't know if I don't know. It depends how many you have, I guess, if you'd want to feed them or not.
Okay. Ken?
That's funny, like we talk about her in the Columbus. If you don't have a DPS, one of the DPS you can use on the Columbus is Jintoro, actually, which is I'm using right now on my Miniature team. He's a defense stun on the weekend, and he's has some multi synergy. Like every 4 times he uses the skill, I think he's slicing 5 times or stuff like that.
Oh.
So he's definitely better than her in the Columbus, at least on the Miniature team. I won't do that. Again, like I like to see her true potential first of all. To be honest, guys, like I didn't empower any single champion yet. None of my Faction Guardian is full yet, so I'm waiting that first of all. But I'm not gonna randomly empower the champion like you did BLAZIN, like Black Knight. I'm never gonna use him. Why would I empower him, right? I like to keep him. Maybe in the future, like you're saying, we will need them, right? So that's why if I'm not gonna use her, I'm definitely not gonna empower her. That's basically very simple.
Fair enough. I should mention that my Faction Guardians are full. for at least that faction. So, all right. The archer is going to be empowered by Valkyrie. That's a tough one. Jay, are you going to use Valkyrie to empower archer?
I do have 2 Valkyries right now. I have a clan boss one and I have a PvP one. But having a plus Valkyrie is pretty good. But if I ever did get this Nergigante archer, I would probably, I probably would because she's really strong.
Okay. Gestal, since you have 2 of them, will you be feeding any Valkyries?
I just +4'd my Valkyrie.
All right. So the answer for that is yes.
No, not happening. I don't have Valk on the free to play. If I had a Valk on the free to play, I would never feed her. But I guess any more Valks, they'll be going right into her for sure.
Okay. Ken?
I mean, Valkyrie is a pretty solid champion. Like, you can even use her in the arena, right? You
Yep.
can use her on the Fire Knight Heart. You can use her in the arena. You can also use her maybe PvE. She's more like, I mean, I don't think Archer Girl is the arena champion. She's more like Hydra utility. Is that worth it? Depends how many Valkyrie you have, I guess. If you already have 1+ for Valkyrie, I don't think you need another one. So.
Okay. Myself, assuming I pull her, until Valkyrie's +4, I probably won't be +4ing her, but eventually, yes. All right. Blade Master, is going to, I guess they're all named Blade Master, but Tomb Lord. Are you feeding 4 Tomb Lords to empower him, Jay?
You can get a Tomb Lord in the
Clan shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is pretty decent. I mean, 1 Tomb Lord's good. Like I think I have 2, but I don't actually build out the second one. It's a lot of books, a lot of investment for what 1 Tomb Lord does his whole job enough. To plus up a Tomb Lord, who you'd only want to plus up for what? Like maybe like PvP, but no one uses them there. So yeah, I think the answer for most players would be yes.
Okay. Gestal?
I've only got 1 Tomb Lord. I guess if I were to get more, I would. Yeah, I think like Jay said, you don't really need multiple Tomb Lords, and you don't really need to +4 them. You don't really need to empower them. Unless you're really hurting on stats, but if you had that many Tomb Lords, I'd imagine your stats are probably okay too. So, I would say feed them.
Okay. Ken?
I agree with the friends. Tomb Lord is more like PvE champion, but this dude also have potential in many different arena, included Amuse. So like you can keep the 1 Tomb Lord and fit the rest of them definitely worth it.
Okay. Ogre says he's got 5 Genturos. Guess who he will not be +4ing? Fair game, sir. Fair game. All right. As for myself, I've got 1. I couldn't see myself building more than 1. He's not really used anywhere else other than maybe dungeons or clan boss. But this guy definitely has his case uses, so I would probably +1 him over Tomb Lord. All right, and then we got the Void, who is going to be empowered by Tamaria. Now, I don't know the skill from Tamaria, but I'm pretty sure she's way better than he is. So will you guys be feeding her to empower him, Jay?
He has a unique skill kit, but it's. I don't think it's like. Yeah, I probably would. I'd probably keep. If I had 2, I'd probably start empowering him. Because like she's okay, but I don't know. I still feel like.
Hold on. Let me just read the skill kit out real quick, right? A1 attacks all enemies, has a 30% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed for 2 turns. Also has a 30% chance of placing a fear debuff on enemies with 20% less turn meter. Books up to 50%. Her A2 attacks all enemies, has an 80% chance of placing a stun. After attacking, has an 80% chance of decreasing the turn meter by 30% for each enemy without a stun. Books up to 100%.
This is a worse skill than the Archer Girl. Like, how is that possible, man?
A3 removes all debuffs from all allies, fills the turn meter of all of each ally by 15%, fills the turn meter of all allies by a further 10% for each fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, sleep, stun, petrification, debuff removed, fills the turn meter of each ally by a further 5% for any other debuffs removed. That is on a 5-turn cooldown, and then her passive, immune to sleep debuffs, fills this champion's turn meter by 20% whenever an enemy tries to place a fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, petrification, stun, sleep debuff on this champion, and then has an all-speed aura battle of 23. So, will you still feed her?
The A2 is not a 3-turn cooldown. The A3 is nice, but it's just not enough. And then the passive, yeah, she's immune to sleep, so now she can't be controlled by Amius. But overall, and the A1's not like a 70 or 80% decrease speed. There's just certain things that, like, yeah, I would just feed her. Like, if I got her, I don't even know if I would build her. Like, I don't want to book this. Like, I think she needs a buff. She needs a rebalance, definitely. But I would definitely eat her into power up Fatalis.
Okay. Gestal, what about you?
I mean, I don't have either. I'm not sure I will really ever get either of them, to be honest. So I'm not sure it's something I'll ever have to be concerned with.
Okay.
I'm more likely I get this Tremaria, obviously, right? It's still in the game. The other one's gonna be gone soon. So, I guess it would all depend. It would all depend how many I got of the Tremaria. Do you really need more than one her? I mean, getting extra speed, extra accuracy would probably be something you would want on a champ like that. Whereas plus 4ing for crit rate and crit damage, and extra HP on the other dude would certainly be beneficial. I'd be 50-50 on it, honestly. It'd really be where the game's at and if I'm using either of them.
Okay. Ken, what about you?
Is it only me who think like that? So they put Tremari there as a foot, right? Empower. So because of that, they are never gonna buff her. What does that mean?
It's possible.
That's so sad because she's looking freaking awesome. I mean, her visual, not her kids, definitely deserve a buff. Will I feed her to another trash void Lego? Like, I don't know, man. Like, one of them need to get a buff. I don't know. My answer gonna be after one of them get a buff.
Okay.
Right now doesn't really matter. Like 0 + 0 0. So.
All right. Myself, I would not, unless he gets a buff to his skill kit or a rebalance. Sorry. I would not +1 him. I don't think he's worth it. Not to say that she's not worth it, but yeah. All right, so let's touch up on one last thing before we let everybody go for the day. And Curse City, Amius, this rotation looks quite interesting. Have you guys taken it on and have you beaten it, Gestal?
No, I've decided to kind of go into. Oh, I've also missed like a day already of keys, so I'm a little behind. But I decided to go into Soul Cross first and get there as deep as I can while the free gear swap is out. And then I'm gonna go for Amius. So I haven't even gotten a key yet. I hightailed it for Soul Cross.
Okay. Jay?
Yeah, I did Amius. So a lot of strategies that we could use before can still be used, but not as effectively. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of revivers. There's a few, but the issue that a lot of players are saying, and from what I've noticed, I beat Amius in 1 hour, my first time trying on rotation 1. This rotation had me playing for 8 hours straight, and the most I ever got was for 50% health. Now you could argue, well, you're not using heal reduction because you're built different. You want to do things hard way. Yes, I want to do it the hard way. But the problem is your champions don't have enough sustain. Like, the problem is not just he keeps healing. That's fine. You could just brimstone it out, right? But the problem is consistency of staying alive. Before, you could just revive people, or you could just have someone solo it, like a Wukong gets A1 and he comes back for free. Or now we have Blizzard, which is really good, but it's just your other champions. Your other champions, like someone had to tell me they had to put 4 of their champions in regeneration. And I already have 2 or 3, I think, on my team right now. I'm just like, dang, I don't want to full regen my champions just to beat Amius. And then you could do it for the regear, but I don't even know if I can do 5 champs. I've already done 3, and it's already taken all like gear off my Theodore and other stuff. So I'm like, dang. So it is pretty hard. I will say that. And then 2, when you get to the second alternate form, now for some reason, like I guess because I'm using different champs and different abilities, it's causing him to whack out. Where sometimes he wants to A1 multiple times, and it just you could have a perfect run, and then with 2 minutes, you're like, all right, I'm already at the boss, like 40% health in 2 minutes and a half. I'm like, oh, it's GG, right? Put heal reduction, you win. Nope. And then he just changes everything up, and everything falls apart. And you're like, bruh, it's really annoying. It's honestly, it's hard. It's hard, and it's gear intensive now too.
Yeah. Ken, what about you?
I beat him today. I was outside. I was waiting my food. While waiting my food, I just opened the game on my phone and I just did it. I tried like 1 hour at the home. Whenever I was at the home, nope. Then yeah, it's worked somehow. The real challenge in there, guys, like yes, obviously you need some important role champion like heal reduction, like I just said earlier. Obviously condition is the matter, but the real thing is, guys, make a big difference is the awakening. Like you are maybe watching lots of the video from the content creator friends, and you build the champion with the same stat, but you are like, hey bro, like it's not working. Because of that, like I saw my Morgan today, like getting 100,000 crit attack from the second form of the boss A1 ability, which is attack twice, and first hit did 100,000 damage on her. Like, not second hit didn't even land it. She dead, like my Urost, my Morgan, I used them today, but said that they wasn't have any blessing, so it was super hard to keep them alive. I highly recommend it. Try your Ultimate Death Knight there. Actually, it's definitely worth to rebuild him, because most of us using Ultimate Death Knight insanely slow and high resistance. Now we are going to do opposite, insanely fast. Not insanely fast, decent amount of the speed, enough accuracy and survivability, because Ultimate Death Knight has a decreased attack debuff, which is going to help you a lot, and continuous heal buff definitely going to help you to regen some heal. If you don't have enough regen set, like I just said earlier, to put all of your champion, this is what you needed. Obviously, you needed a 475 accuracy against this boss. For me, this condition was easier. I also have a Sifi, so... But can't say what's going to be happen on the previous... next condition. Obviously, there is still going to be like, what? 3 more, right? I think it's going to be 5 rotation, yeah, so...
Yeah. So this is going to be pretty much the team that I'm looking at right here. It's super heavy pay to win it.
Brimstone, switch to Brimstone.
Yeah.
Brimstone.
Yeah, I'll switch.
I actually did beat it without Brimstone, but definitely make way more easier. So.
Yeah, Brimstone makes things way easier. But Ogre in chat is making a couple of good points. So there are some things that are affecting him on his second form. Protected debuffs, right, are definitely affecting him. I know there's some people out there that are saying protected debuffs are great, but something is causing an issue with that. And he's also ignoring the decrease attack mechanic with that. So when he should be going into his A3 from form 2 into form 1, he's not doing it. He's going into form 1, I believe it is. But yeah, there's definitely some issues with protected buffs. Ogre saying put in Godseeker, and I could be better with that one. That could actually work pretty well. But congratulations, Freak, on pulling a Cold Heart. Guys, another great content creator. Click on his name, and that will take you right to his Twitch channel. Make sure you guys give him a follow there, sir. But yeah, I think this rotation, we've got a lot more choices, and it feels like it's going to be a lot easier. But at the same time, it it's going to be, I think, a little harder because of what Ken is saying with the blessings of awakenings, and then we have our champions built with protection buffs. Like, a lot of people are running their CV with a protection CV. And even Uko stealing that protected debuff actually can kind of make a problem for you, depending on when he does it. But yeah, so there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be difficult in this rotation. Now, real quick, Jay, what is your plan for this rotation? What are you doing? Are you going right to Soul Cross, or are you doing something else? Are you just going to beat everything and then see what you can get to?
Well, first thing I'm gonna beat Amius. But the next thing I'm gonna pretty much do is honestly probably just gonna do the other bosses and do videos on it. Or I mean, I could push Soul Cross to see how easy it is. Maybe this one won't be as crazy as last one. That one gated me really hardcore.
Good luck.
At the bridge, like where S8 is. So hopefully maybe this time I can finally get inside. But yeah, I'll probably do that. And if I have more availability to go like S6, S16 or other stuff, I'll go as deep as I can. But if it's too crazy, then I'll just go back and just do the bosses and do videos on that.
Okay. Gestal, you said you're heading right into Soul Cross.
Yeah, I just wanted to try and save some silver while they had the free gear swap out. Yeah, I'll be going for the keys here. Kind of want to get stuck, and I'll get Amius down at some point. But...
Okay. Have you hit S6 yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Just to know what you're looking. This is what you're looking at. It is not a great option right now. I'm like farming masteries for all these guys. Ken, what about you?
I'm gonna try to do better than last time because I checked the zone floor I stacked on the last time, and as a condition wise, I have a more option now. So try to break my record. I think I cleared 89 floor last time, so hopefully I can do more. I beat Amuse already, so yeah. It's, fun fact, by the way, in the Synchronous Awakening rooms, I meet in the condition this time. Because last time I didn't meet the condition on the Synchronous Awakening rooms, the red rooms. But this time I stuck on the Dead Cross Awakening rooms. Like I don't have an Awakening champion there. It's so
okay.
It's so unlucky, yeah.
So Ken, you said you cleared 89 rooms?
Yeah, I did. I could be doing more, but no point.
Okay. Gestal, how many rooms did you clear?
I think I had 6 left, so was it 95?
Okay. Jay, what about you? How many rooms did you clear, sir?
I didn't look at the number. I just know I cleared I just got stuck at S8, so I cleared everything in Dead Rise, everything in Playgame, everything in Cobble Market.
Okay. So I cleared 100 rooms out of 101.
Wait,
damn.
which one is that?
The one floor that I could not clear was S20.
Oh, come on. Oh, come
Yep.
on.
I tried so hard. So part of that is a giveaway, and it's going to be 10 monthly gem packs.
Yep.
The video for that will be coming out tomorrow. We'll wait for 1 week to do the giveaway. So keep an eye out on that video. For anybody who's interested in joining, you will get a chance to get yourself a free monthly gem pack, and you can, if you've already have one, you can wait till that one's over, or I can give you like a Google Play gift card. It's really up to you. But yeah, I had no chance on Steven's account. I realized that early on. And then, my account, I really, really tried hard. I think I spent like 150 million silver, and I just, that one floor, I could not get. Like, I spent hours on it. Hours. I feel this rotation might be a little bit better because of the champion-wise. But it's going to be quite interesting. Quite interesting. We're definitely going to be in for it. S19. I mean,
Dayıtı gonna be. Açık.
Achak, I'm thinking about building a dupe if I can find one. This guy right here, Dudan the Ronick, is going to be kind of like a must.
Provoke, yeah.
You know, so I'm kind of, my strategy right now is head into Soul Cross. I'm still trying to progress to this stage. I feel once I get through this one, I should get through some of the other stuff pretty decently. And then I'm going to start focusing on farming masteries for some of these other champions. But, all right, guys, it has been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. We've discussed a lot. We discussed the Monster Hunter champions, rotation 2, progression. You know, there's some good and bad things with the Monster Hunter events. Like I said, I don't like the fact that they're gating everything behind shards. I feel like they should have just done some sort of event where we could have achieved every single one of them. But, you know, it is what it is. I feel like more the deck effect events would have been better. Shoutouts. Let's go with Jay first.
I'm gonna shout out to Deadwood Jedi. You know, he put a lot of work into Discords and a lot of different types of community chats. We're part of the Deadwood Jedi team. We're thinking of coming up with a name soon, so you guys will know the official one. But yeah, he put a lot of work into putting all these different things, and we're communicating and everything for this free-to-play challenge. So hey, shout out to Deadwood.
Okay. Gestal, shoutouts.
Well, shout out my man Freak Gaming. You kind of gave him one earlier. He's in the chat there. Give my man Freak a follow on the Twitches. Awesome dude, man. Go follow
him. Ken, shoutouts, sir.
I like to shout out the community this time, content creator, viewer. Like this raid community actually looks small, but it's actually very massive and very active. And to be honest, like as a toxic rarity, like compared to the other games, it's almost nothing, man. Almost everybody is respectful to each other and trying to help each other, which is great. Best community.
I can echo that very, very much. I'm the raid community, like I said, I put my videos out and I try to reply to every single comment out there. If I get a message in Discord, I put it out there. And there's people, like, I will literally get messages if I don't upload a video, like 1, maybe 2 more days. Like, hey, what's going on? Where are you? What are you doing? What is this? So, the community is phenomenal. I cannot say anything about the community. Like, it is one of the best communities out there. Toxicity is at a very, very minimal point, and they're just all very friendly, and some people, like I've been streaming a couple of nights this week, and there's a lot of people that don't know a lot of things, and they're like, hey, I don't want to ask a dumb question. There's no such thing as a dumb question. We're all here to learn, right? But my shout out this week is actually going to go to T-Bone. We did a lot of account work this week on his account. We rebuilt all of his 3v3 teams, trying to progress him into Gold 1. So far, I believe we're in Silver 3 or Silver 4, T-Bone. Correct me if I'm wrong. Looking to get into Gold 1 to complete those Ramantu missions. He's also a mod in Twitch and on YouTube. Great guy. Chat with him outside of Raid 2. Really, really awesome guy. So, Ken, where can everybody find you?
FinalKenpachi, both Twitch and YouTube.
Okay. And here comes Carnage right at the end. How are you doing, sir? Shout out to Carnage. He's another content creator. Also, Carnage, thank you for reminding me, sir. I appreciate that. Gestal, where can everybody find you?
Gestal Gaming on Twitch and YouTube, and Gestal.gg, the best website in the entire universe.
All right. I admit, hey, I've gone to it quite a few times looking for information. Hell Hades is a great one too, but Gestal's got the search filters are a little more in depth, which help you quite a bit.
And it's mobile friendly, much more mobile friendly than Hell Hades.
Yes.
It's okay.
Jay, what about you?
You can find me on YouTube and Twitch.tv at JRStar3, not JStar.
Okay. And you can also find them all every week here on the Knights of Teleria, where we, have some fun, talk about everything Raid Shadow Legends. Now, before everybody goes, take a quick second, and we have a deal with Mr. Carnage. Now, if you don't know Carnage, he is a Twitch streamer who we've recently made a deal where if he gets 500 subscribers on his YouTube channel, which is this right here, he will start doing YouTube content. Now, quick thing, when you copy and paste that link, there is a little period at the end, okay? You need to put that period at the end. He did that on purpose because if you click the link, it brings you to a different Carnage. So make sure you guys put that period at the end and click on the right Carnage. The page you're going to be looking for looks something like this. Okay? He's got 7 subscribers. We need another 493. Get him up to 500 so we can start seeing this beautiful, beautiful Aussie making some YouTube content. So if you haven't, do me a favor, click that subscribe button and get him up to the 500 subscribers. All right. He always has to point that out, the dot. Yes, I do. I always have to point out the dot at the end because I know your trick. I know your trick. As always, guys, it has been, again, a very, very fun time. I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed hanging out with all of you guys. Thank you to Gestal. Thank you to Jay. Thank you to Ken for hanging out with us today. Thank you to the community for hanging out with us as well. Thank you to all the follows. Leo, thank you for the follows, sir. I appreciate it. So everybody on the YouTube side, unfortunately, I can't raid anybody, but on the Twitch side, we are going to go raid Mr. Bhaskar, who is another official raid content creator. Does a lot of great account work. I actually had him help me out with my account, trying to take on a couple of those last stages I was having it difficult with. Gave me a lot of great suggestions. So make sure you guys give him a follow when we raid him. I would really, really appreciate it, along with the rest of the guys. And as always, much love, much appreciation. Be safe, be well, be good to each other.